What's good, everybody? You already know who it is and what it is. And if you don't, it's three unks in a pod. That's right. Voice of the Heroes. UNCaped is coming at you live. And this is FleeBoy Jetson, my guy Blue Jack Galactic Photog. And we got a special guest in the building. You might know him from writing epic books like X-Men, Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, Creep Show, so much right now. He's currently working on Casey Jones, and he has a new book coming out. Cyclops gets a solo run sooner than you expect. Let's welcome Alex Paknadel to the show. How you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm not sure I deserve that level of enthusiasm for an intro, but like I'm flattered, like all the same.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. So, hey man, it's been a busy year for you. How you doing? How's the new year treating you?
Uh, like honestly, yeah, like just before Christmas, there was like a minute where I just like needed to crawl under my desk and have a little cry. But yeah, like it's like you know what I mean? Like it's uptown problems, you know what I mean? Like it's too much work is better than too little.
Yeah, you're right about right now. You got your hands on a lot of stuff, so I'm gonna just jump right into it. Right, you have Cyclops coming out, which is a really special book to a lot of people in the Marvel community, right? Because for those who don't know, currently in the main X-Men run, Cyclops is off his rocker at this point. So I'm excited to see what you do. My question to you, right, that I'm gonna start off with, we have Donald Pierce that's gonna be the main antagonist, right? For this, what made you come up with him or choose him to be the main antagonist of this series?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it was more like the inspiration for the book guided it, right?
Mhm.
So like one of the things that kind of came up first of all when I was sort of putting it together, because like I Marvel didn't come to me with this, I came to them. And like I'm a huge fan of like survival horror. Like I love, you know what I mean, like The Gray, movies like that, like People Against the Wilderness. Like I love that stuff. And I always thought, man, like you see those stories with Wolverine all the time, right? And like rightly, like it's like his natural habitat, right? But you don't generally see them with Cyclops because he's the kind of strategist, right? Like he's the guy who sort of sees everything from like a sort of bird's eye view. And like, wouldn't it be fun to basically swap the roles out? And I thought like one of the coolest ones I ever saw, just in terms of just like breaking a character like down to their component parts, was like I'm sorry, I can't give you the issue number, but like I have it in like a bunch of collected editions. But like there's a beautiful Claremont Barry Windsor Smith Wolverine story. It's like a done in one called Wounded Wolf, where it's like, like his healing factors, like Wolverine's healing factors, like maxed out, and basically he's just like with this little kid, and he's having to kind of protect her from the Reavers. And so my decision to use the Reavers, like I mean, like I did my homework and everything, but it was mainly like an homage to that. So
Wow.
it was basically like yeah, it's just like it's like Logan, yeah, like his healing factor's maxed out,
Hmm.
like he's butt naked and he's in the snow, and it's just like him versus like these Reavers who are just
Hmm.
tearing him apart, and like how he gets through that. I was like, I want to do that for Scott,
Wow. Yeah.
not the butt naked bit.
So now you did put the Reavers into this comic, right? I know no spoilers and nothing like that, but I just got to look at issue three's cover. It man, is he? I don't know if you can say, but is this Shield going to be involved in this, or does he join Shield?
Uh like not in my book. I'll say that up front, like not in my book. As to future plans, I like genuinely, like hand to God, I don't know. Like I'm super tight with Jed McKay, who like writes adjective lists. Uh, and I think he would tell me if I asked him, but like I'd have to like ask him now. You know what I mean? Like I'd have to like DM him on the side.
All right, Blue Jack, go ahead.
Hey, so you got, what I mean, you got the Age of Revelation event that just ended. You got the Cyclops book coming very shortly after February. We're all excited about it. Cyclops hasn't had a solo in a while. You know what I mean? We're excited to see him on his own. What can we expect with his headspace after going to the future all those years and then coming back and essentially failing to save that and then coming back to try to save it in the future? Is it kind of connected in the timeline, or is it way before where he's at, or is it current?
Okay, so like it's current, and like I worked pretty closely with Jed to kind of like tone match, and
Okay.
it's part of the whole kind of like Shadows of Tomorrow initiative. So it's very much um like post Krakoa,
Okay.
right? So like, the mutants have kind of been through their like I guess like stages of grief, but now like they have this new kind of threat on the horizon, this new thing that like they have to prevent. But like our story, one of the things, I mean, again, I mentioned one of the kind of antecedents that I wanted it to kind of like mirror, right? And when I was kind of pitching it in the room, I said very explicitly, like, I want this to be like an evergreen. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to be able to kind of pick this off the shelf in the same way that they can pick up like Weapon X or like Magneto
Mm.
Testament. You know what I mean? Like one of those. And again, like I know that's ambitious. I'm not saying I'll do it. The fans will tell me if I've done it, right? But like my like blue sky thinking is that this is going to be something that in 10 years people will pick it up off the shelf and it'll still make sense. So I've kind of I haven't like cut it off from continuity at all. But one of the things that I have done is like I've tried to make it like as accessible as possible.
Okay.
So it basically is like a I know it sounds pretentious, but like a nourishing reading experience, like in its own right. You know what I mean? So it's going to be one of those books where like if you read it, because I've worked pretty closely with Jed, like I think you're going to see through lines from those other books, but it's going to be one of those ones where you are just going to be able to read it as like a complete story and like it's
Mm,
you're getting a full meal is the idea.
Okay.
Photog.
So, I have so many questions regarding that, but I want to really
Can I
kind of
just say,
tie.
like, you have a copy of the Max #1 there, which means
Yeah,
we can be friends.
Yeah.
yeah, newsstand too.
Oh, gee.
Sam Keith, man.
Yes,
Wow.
awesome, awesome
Best
artist.
Wolverine
Period.
artist, man.
Yeah.
Apart from Barry Windsor's. Oh,
Hmm.
anyway, yeah. So
Yeah.
good. Sorry.
See, that's a whole other conversation you and I can talk about. But so I want to take it back. So I know we kind of talked about the Cyclops thing, but to be honest with you, I like to get to know the creators a little bit. So I kind of want to make this a little bit more personal question. Not so much the work that you're actually doing, but more so about you. As a writer, what kind of first of all, how long you've been doing it, and then what kind of goes through your mind when you're starting to create these stories? Because you kind of already answered my question regarding where you pitched the idea, or did they bring it to you? But you already did that. So knowing that you actually pitched that idea to Marvel, how do you come up with these concepts as far as your writing goes? First question is how long have you been writing? And number two is, how do you come up with these concepts for characters?
Okay. Cheers, John. Yeah. So, I've been writing, God, I think I'm coming up on 10 years, which is frightening. Um, like I have like a whole person that I helped to make who's like become a human being in that time, which is weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I've been doing it for a minute. And like I only feel like I'm sort of learning how to do it now, if that makes any kind of sense. Um, and sorry, what was the second part of the question? I told you, like I'm going to drift off. What was the
Nope,
second
that's
part?
perfectly fine because you
Like
actually
basically,
answered it.
how do I come up with these concepts, right?
Right.
I think a lot of it is like, y- I mean, I know this sounds like a real cliche, but like inspiration kind of comes from like anywhere, you know what I mean? So, I mean, really, like, I mean, the inspiration for this was, I mean, I think I sort of cited it like earlier on. It was just one of those things where like I'd seen like a bunch of Wolverine stories that were like, human being against the wilderness. And like Alan Moore talks about this, right? Like stories you can think of stories as like turning dials, right? So like you take something and if you turn like the conspiracy dial like up to 11, you get a different kind of story. If you turn the sci-fi dial up to 11, you get a different kind of story. And so with this it was basically like, I mean, I don't want to kind of mystify it too much. It was like essentially like, what if you do what are the character implications and what kind of fun can you have if you take a Wolverine story and just put Cyclops in it? and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Like the possibilities like multiply because he's like, and I mean this with like the greatest affection, like, you know, Wolverine is like absolutely at home in that environment. Like Scott's a control freak. You know what I mean? Like you put a control freak in a situation where he can't control anything, then all of a sudden things get like real interesting and real like I hope real fun. I mean, like on one of the things that we've done in the story as well is like we've taken his visor away. So
Hmm.
like, you know, he finds himself in the wilderness, but like his visor's gone. So you have this whole kind of like quasi like intentional sort of like Zatoichi kind of situation going on. You know what I mean? Where like he's trying to kind of navigate his way around. He can't see because if he opens his eyes, anything he sees is like gone, right? So he has control over nothing. But one of the things that I was kind of saying earlier on, one of the things that I sort of pitched in the room was I said like th- and I think there's a lot of evidence for this. Like if you look at the way kind of Scott behaves in situations that he can't control, right? Like this idea that he's like this Boy Scout, like I don't buy it at all. I think the visor, he's a guy, right, who it was just little stuff that was rolling through my head was like, this is a guy who can't like have a nightmare. You know what I mean? This is a guy who can't sleepwalk, right? You know, this is a guy who cannot lose control ever. So one of the things that I sort of said, and I kind of put it in the pitch, is that basically like the visor is like a control rod in a nuclear reactor. You take away that visor and there's going to be an explosion.
Straight
You know what I mean?
chaos.
And not just of the face, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's where I'm going. It's like the whole story is like a pressure cooker that's just kind of build and build and just kind of test this thing where like the guy who has to control everything can't control anything.
Mhm.
I'm
Sounds
sorry, I was
it
really
sounds
long-winded, but
sounds very
No,
interesting.
no,
I hope
it
I
did
said something
because
of interest.
no, because it kind of gave me by you downloading on this one singular character. It kind of gives me an idea about the other characters that you created, that I've actually got to experience. I mean, because reading the Sentinel, I read that one, Creep Show. I know that one's just a fun time, because it's like a horror experiment. But building these stories though, like it's just interesting to see how you navigate that.
I agree. I think just from you explaining it, because when I go into new books, and of course you know the character, I don't really like to look at the solicit. Of course, I order my books and all that, but I don't like to read the description. I just want to go in and I want the first issue just to take me on an adventure. And just listening to you talk, giving me the stakes almost. I'm feeling it like, and to see Scott in this realm that he's never been in, me trying to figure it out, and my because I love to try to put pieces together. I've always been that way. Movies, shows, me just trying to think, how is Scott going to navigate this adventure on top of having to deal with people and him being a tinkerer and overthinker? It's getting me even more excited already just from hearing you. So it's great.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
man. Thank you. Thank
And
you.
then the artwork is just so beautiful. Y'all have so many wonderful artists working on these variant covers, and even the A cover is Chef's Kiss, right? Are there any artists that you haven't worked with yet that you would love to get on this project?
I work for like cover wise.
Yeah, cover wise.
I mean, there are so I mean, I'll be honest, like I can't kind of I think I can say this because like it's been solicited, but you haven't seen it yet. Like I've seen it and it's ridiculous. Like we got one from Nick Klein that you haven't seen yet that is just incredible, man. You know, like he like the stuff he's doing with Phil, like over on Hulk, is just ridiculous. And so like we got one there. Um, and I mean, I'll be honest, like one of the things that's been really kind of gratifying for this, because because like I've worked on again, like I've been doing this for a minute, and
Yeah.
you work on books at kind of various, scales and everything. And like I was aware that there was like a passionate kind of fandom out there, but like even though I've worked in like the X office probably like for about 18 months, 2 years now. I wasn't kind of prepared for like the level of fandom that I was going to get from this. And like, and like people have kind of strong feelings and like I respect that. But one of the things that kind of happening to me now is like I did like I wrote an Ultimates one shot with Dennis Camp, like the Ultimate Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I wrote that like a couple of months ago, and I was doing a signing, And man, like this guy, like I've got it right here. Like it just really disarmed me. Like a guy just just like gave me this, like just gave me like
Wow.
a drawing that he did of Cyclops. And like this is happening now, like quite a bit. You know what I mean? People are kind of sending in fan art. I'm like, okay, this is new. Like I had a couple bits for Sentinels, but this is like a whole other level. Um, and it's. I like I'd be lying if I said like the weight of expectation wasn't like a bit, it's like I'm not used to it, you know what I mean? And like it's bad enough when like it's bad enough when my 10-year-old expects stuff from me. But like, but
Got a whole
there is just
fandom.
that thing of like, oh man, like there are people who have a like really definite view of who this guy is. And like I can't hit all of those beats, but I can try and hit as many as I can. And I mean, the way I've sort of said it is like, I would never say that I've provided the definitive take on Cyclops because that's like hugely arrogant. What I have done, I think, and I think I'm saying this honestly, and with like humility, is like I've given like my definitive take. You know what I mean? Like this is everything I have to say about the character, and like whoever comes along next, they may take him in a completely different direction, and like none of that's wrong. It's just like this is, as far as I can see, this is like my like 360 view of the guy, you know.
Okay.
And
So,
I'm gonna
with that being said, then if you had an artist right now, the artist that you love the most, like when you look at comic books, I think it sounds like you've been in comic books for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So if you could choose an artist to depict Cyclops in your head, who's that?
I mean, so I know you've asked me a really simple question, and I should give you a really simple answer. I will say Roge Antonio, who's drawn this book,
Mhm.
has like crushed it from orbit. Like it's like when you see, like, I mean, you got some preview pages up, but like the extra that he gave is just insane. You know what I mean? Like we don't have like a back channel or anything, but like there are times when you work with an artist, like people, like I've heard people like refer to it as like the third mind or whatever, but
Mm.
like where you're working with an artist and you
Mhm.
feel like they're just reading your thoughts. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like, oh no, like that's exactly what I wanted and like an extra 20%. And it's been like that with Roge like throughout.
What
Um,
did you guys did you pick him, or did the
No,
studio?
like I did a couple issues of Carnage with him, I think in like 2023. And like I loved it, man, because like I was switched out onto that book. Like my buddy Ram V kind of like tapped
Rambee's
me
good.
in to do some stuff on Carnage. And like I'd I didn't really know where the line was, right? In terms of like, well, what is this, a team book, whatever. So I just like went
Mm.
all out and I said, well, I figured they'll bring it. So I put like loads of weird stuff in there, like, he like Cletus is like feeding someone like a finger and stuff, just really like gross stuff. And like I was doing it with Rose, and like Rose would just like went at it, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh no, man, like I got to work with this guy again. And so when Darren Shan, my editor on Cyclops, we were kind of circling around a couple artists, and like like my hand to God, this happened, right? He was like, I got a list together, like number one, like Roge Antonio, and I was like, stop, we're good.
Wow.
Mm.
Like it was just, yeah,
You
that's
knew
like
it.
that's the
Got
guy.
you.
Yeah.
So he is the
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, he is the guy, but like selfishly, right? Like, and again, like this is like me, like this is me at an all-you-can-eat buffet, right? Like if I had my druthers, if I could work with anyone, um, like on anything, like it would be Barry Windsor Smith because like he's just like my favorite, like
Okay.
my
That's
favorite artist
fire.
ever.
Yeah.
Now you did say this is a self-contained story, right? And this
Mm.
is your Cyclops. Now, we all know lately Cyclops has been getting a lot of more attention, a lot of aura from X-Men 97 and Ray Chase voicing him and doing an amazing job, right? And the writers, giving him a new light, right? And then we got the Doomsday trailer, which Cyclops was the standout of those trailers, in my opinion, right? So now he's getting his own solo run. So I felt you to my core when you said, "Hey, I'm feeling the expectations. Like I know they're high, and I know Now, with these expectations, right, being so high, what do you hope out of everything readers may take in that they take away from this series when it's all said and done from Cyclops?
Um, bear in mind, like, I am British and I'm probably butchering this, right? But like, I just feel like I know there are people who love Scott Summers and there are Scott Summers detractors.
Mhm.
Um, my hope is that like I win over the detractors. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's
Okay.
like I
Mhm.
want to kind of like decisively dispel this myth that he's this like uptight. I mean, sorry, I mean this is a total kind of digression, but like I was talking to kind of an artist. I worked with Caspar Wingard,
Mhm.
who's does the power fantasy, right? Like I
Mhm.
did a
Yep.
book with him a couple years ago called All Against All. Like we were trying and like initially we were trying to kind of like depict we wanted to do like aliens, you know what I mean? Like we were like, let's like steer away from like, like Na'vi stuff and like do aliens that don't have like two eyes, a nose, a mouth, all that stuff. We want to do like proper aliens, but they're going to be the main characters. And like we got like we were doing concept art like crazy, right? And one of the things that came back, which was really interesting, was we were told by, some really kind of big artists, um, you can't do that because if you have a character that doesn't have eyes, the audience can't empathize, right? It's very, very difficult to empathize with a character that doesn't have eyes. Now, of course, like Scott has eyes, Scott, like I'm like he's my mate, but like, Cyclops has eyes, but they're constantly covered.
Yeah.
So he's unreadable, right? So one of my kind of theories then going into this is that like I don't think he's as like cold as people register him to be. It's just that you don't have that access to his facial expressions. So he's constantly like, you know what I mean? He's mysterious constantly. You constantly have to wonder what he's thinking. And so with this book, a lot of it, the stuff that I'm trying to do is basically kind of humanize him to the extent that you kind of go like, okay, like he's not actually kind of uptight. He's actually like a pretty kind of like he's a pretty kind of wild guy. But you just can't read his facial expressions. You know what I mean? So like that was a lot of my thinking behind it was just kind of like humanizing him really. So like
That's
the
perfect.
ideal scenario kind of coming out of this is that everyone kind of sees him as like because also like it's like he's in an impossible position. You know what I mean? He's in an impossible position because he's basically been told from like the time he was like 16 or whatever, like, oh, like you have the weight
Yep.
of an entire, like basically like an entire like subset of humanity, like is your responsibility. Like you have to keep them safe.
He
That's
carries
on
it
you.
too. He carries
And
it.
like
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, like and like well, like of course, like he's a control freak. Like he has to be because like who else can do it? You know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong. Like there are tremendous, like Storm I think fills that role kind of very admirably. You know what I mean? She's another one who kind of feels that like weight of expectation. But you can probably count on the fingers of one hand like the X-Men who at a push can like lead them. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean like lead all of them. And like Scott is like one of those three or four, you know?
Hey, I love it. Before we get to other questions, Blue Jack, I just want to let the audience know February 11th. If you haven't pre ordered Cyclops yet, I don't know if the cutoff date already happened, but make sure you pre order this book. If not, February 11th, go to your LCS and make sure you pick up this book and support Blue Jack. Go ahead.
I want to just before I get into my question, that what you're saying is so perfect because just about the eyes aspect and having to try to read Cyclops, even in his books, the characters, if they don't know him, if they haven't been with him for years, they half the time don't even know what he's doing or the game he's playing. You take it back to the X-Men book right now when he's going up against the military and going to talk to the in a cafe, going to talk to the guy. They're like, Cyclops, like, what are you doing? Like, and he's going and he's like, I got this. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know the game I'm playing. I've done this before. Let me do my thing. Let me lead. And he comes back and they're like, you know what I'm saying? We thought we had to pull up as a cavalry. He's like, no, I got it. I got it. So I think outside of like Gene, not many people actually get him outside of his words and his facial expressions. They just know where he's coming from, even when he's not being truthful with his words all the time. Um, so I want to pivot a little bit away from Cyclops and talk about this book right here. My man, you are doing wonders with K. I never thought in my life that I would need a Casey Jones solo,
Thank you so
but
much,
you
man.
definitely put me into a place where I'm like, yes, I already love TMNT. I love him. I love his character, but it's like the way you're doing it and the way you're showing me that I don't know how much research, I don't know if you grew up loving TMNT, but you're showing me that you understand the whole aspect of just the universe of TMNT, the characters, the family dynamic, where he fits in. You're also putting in dynamics of real world with themes of certain themes that you put in the books of people that aren't like minorities and certain like that. You know, the animal people getting chased and being hunted by rich people. It's very crazy how you do it, and I definitely enjoy it every time I read. I'm ready this week for the new issue. My question for you is, when did you find out that you were doing a Casey Jones book? And was it before the new kind of TMNT started, or was it in was after the TMNT already started? Because that weight was heavy in my opinion, because the book, I don't know if you know, the book of TMNT has just been booming. Jason Aaron started it and no one has said anything bad about it. Everybody's loving it. We're loving the new characters. We're loving how he's depicting the characters and the brothers, showing them in a different light. And then you coming into the same universe and bringing a Casey Jones, a person that got hurt in that book, and you're bringing him in his own solo, and then letting him be a part of that universe.
First of all, like, thank you. It's one of those weird things where like it's such a kind of like American cultural institution. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, coming from where I come from, um, like we've had like Marvel books like since the 60s. It's like I'm not saying it's like as much a part of our culture, but like it is kind of part of our culture. But like we didn't like, we got Turtles round about the same, basically the cartoon did a lot of kind of that ambassadorial stuff. Little sidebar. This is absolutely true. Sorry, just like apropos nothing. Uh until like the probably late 90s in the UK, we only knew TMNT as, you can check this out, man. Like you find it on YouTube. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles,
Really?
because our government basically censored it because they thought that if they put ninja in the title, then like kids would become violent.
Mm.
So like we only ever knew it as like Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, but like it exploded here, and like I was exactly the right age, and like it was weird, man, because like it it changed the language. You know what I mean? Like this is not an exaggeration, right? Unless you were someone who, and there aren't many, who like travel back and forth to states. Like I'd never heard the word dude until I saw the cartoon. Like I'd never heard the word dude. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so much kind of leveling out of like transatlantic kind of language happened as a result of that show. So like a lot of love for it in my heart, you know what I mean? In terms of where I came in, it was actually just as Jason was about to kind of like wrap up his year.
Okay.
And like they were, and I think like, Gene was about to take over. Um, and because, like Dan Watters, who's writing Shredder, is like,
Another amazing book. Another amazing book.
but like he's like probably like my best friend in comics, you know what I mean? Like I've known him since he was yay high, and yeah, like we're super tight and we talk every day. And I knew he had that book, and I was super jealous. And then Andy Curry and Dave Wielgosz, like who were on the editing team, um contacted me and said, "Oh, like would you be interested in sort of contributing to this universe?" And I kind of bit their hand off and just went like, "Yeah, like whatever it takes." Basically, like
Yep.
please, like tap me in. I'm ready to go, coach. Um, and yeah, and like it was a real challenge for me as well because like the stuff that I write tends to be quite arch, but like my way into the thing, and like don't get me wrong, like you know, I think like a lot of people, like my first exposure, so my first exposure to the character was the cartoon, and then the second one was like Elias Koteas, like in the movie,
Okay.
which I think for a lot of people is still like the definitive
Their
take,
idea.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and so, you know, but there's so much, like it's like I would say like it's so kind of definitively like American, you know what I mean? And so and I tend to sort of write in quite a sort of arch register. I do like a lot of omniscient narration and all that, and I try and make it quite lyrical and everything. So it's not like genuinely like it felt like writing it feels like a vacation. You know what I mean? I'm using like I say like a change is better than a rest. Like I feel like I'm using like a different muscle.
Okay.
And I'm just like having fun.
You can tell.
Um
Yeah.
and like yeah, and like getting to say all of the horrible stuff that I want to say about rich people and using uh
You're
using
doing it.
a
You're
classic kind of
doing it.
Turtles character say. The other thing as well was like my other kind of approach to it was like I just kind of said up front like um like I'm a pretty kind of frequent visitor, and I just sort of said like I just want to turn it into like a love letter to kind of NYC,
Oh, I
because
like
like I'm
that.
sort of back and forth and stuff. And I mean I haven't quite got to do as much of that as I could because also like the geography's changed, right? So like I was given like in the source book, the kind of the mutant town and stuff, and I was like, oh, like that's the East Village, like you know what I mean, like I go for pierogi there, Um, but like just kind of like having fun with the geography because like I haven't been back in a minute, for various kind of reasons. So it like writing that book kind of puts me in that space where I can kind of, kind of feel like I'm back where, back in the place I love.
Yeah. Yeah, I laughed so hard when the leopard was in the house and the wife's like, "Why is get him out the house?" It's funny. The way you write is it's great, man. I love the I'm telling you, the whole
I
TMNT
appreciate, man.
universe,
I mean
y'all
that,
doing
that
great.
that's a really like Ludovic, like that character, like the sort of like the sort of kind of mutant bounty hunter. Um like writing him is like such a balancing act because like I want him to be like tragic as well as kind of like terrifying, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So like there's this whole thing of like he thinks that human beings are gonna like accept him and like one day he's gonna like be able to kind of like, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna be able to like go to all these like fine dining clubs and stuff. And so just like putting him through the kind of that prism of like he's never going to be thought of as anything other than the things that than like the people he's hunting. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think
Um,
you're finding that line already in 3 issues. You're finding that line so perfectly, in my opinion. Like you got even when he's talking to himself and he's almost definitely convincing himself, I'm not just one of them. I'm human. I'm one of you guys. I'm just trying to wait till I can get this medicine. Like when he was on the table and the doctor's like, I can't help you. You don't have the right, you know what I mean? You don't have to type. And he's telling himself like, I am human. I'm gonna be civilized. I'm gonna be, and you're definitely teetering that, because he's still convincing himself every day. Like
mm,
no matter how many times they spit on him, no matter how many times he goes and fight him and capture him, he's literally like in his closet. I am human. I'm going to be what, you know what I mean. So you're doing great, man. I can't praise
thank
it
you
enough.
so much.
Photog.
Just hearing you talk, man, I'm highly impressed, and I appreciate your ability to talk about emotion and taking these characters that we know and love and give them much more human aspects to them, and we can attach them more than just a comic book. That's a skill that is not seen very often in comic books, where it's just one note. You have depth and layers to your characters, and just looking at, not just the just speaking, because I haven't read Casey Jones yet. I do have the first issue, but just looking at the other stuff that I've actually read, and it makes all sense to me now. You're taking these characters that may not be the focal point of a specific title, but you're giving them their shine within that space and kind of separating them and giving their story. So I can see that with Casey Jones. Now hearing Blue talk about it, and now same thing is happening with Cyclops, and the same thing with Ultimate, like the Ultimate Wolverine. I see you did the year two in. And I'm looking at like how this actually translates now, because all of the characters, even I see Red Globulin you did as well. And again, these characters that are part of the Marvel universe and the other universes, right? But they're not the characters that you say, you know, that these ones that we know and love so much. Of course,
Mm.
Cyclops is part of the X-Men, but most people know Wolverine first or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So um Cyclops is just a character. He's a team member.
Mhm.
Where you're saying, okay, well, he's more than that. You know, he has way more of that to him. The same thing with Casey Jones. Casey Jones was a side character, but you're saying, well, he's more than just a side character. So I'm gonna give him this shine in this space where you can actually relate to him and what he goes through. Um, you're a phenomenal writer, man. I'm just thinking about how much I was introduced to within my own little small catalog that I have of yours, but what I've read, and now I'm understanding how you actually go through the process of, with these characters and developments, which is kind of where my question was, kind of going back to Cyclops here is, you know, with Cyclops being meaner and badder, because now I'm looking at it, you're tying in the parts of what happened with From the Ashes perfectly with what's going on right now, because the beginning of From the Ashes was Krakoa happened. They had that they dispersed, and Scott was in the space where now Phoenix is no longer present with him, and he has to kind of deal with a lot of other different emotions. Where Professor X, he didn't completely even agree with Professor X. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, he got trapped, he got taken to Grey Malkin. I'm okay with him being a Grey Malkin because I know how it was growing up with him. I'm not that type of leader. That's not what I want for us, right? And him to have to kind of go through this transition period with him being having friction with his own team members. Like, what does this look like for him being a strategist where he's like, well, I'm okay with you not being part of the team. I'm
Mm.
okay with it. I'm perfectly fine with that. If you don't agree with the direction I'm going with, I'm okay with that, because Professor X, he was more so, he was the he kind of groomed them. He just was like, we're all a team, we're all a group. We all should be thinking, we should all have this group think mentality. And Cyclops got to this point where he's like, well, no, we shouldn't have the same group think mentality because it didn't work before. So, I'm thinking of now, like, how could we make this work in a different way where we all kind of are happy, but we need to be realistic. And Professor X's thinking was not realistic. And even I had to kind of take a step back, because I always was at this place where Professor X, where I appreciated his thought process. Like, yeah, they are mutants, but they also should be treated as a part of the community of humanity. But they weren't. But at the same time, it was the direction of Professor X and how he went getting that. So, and I think seeing him in this space with Cyclops is a totally different Cyclops that I'm familiar with. But I love it. How is that going to affect the team overall? Because obviously we see that they're not a team right now, and I do see that there's a cover coming out where they kind of all have to come together because of where he's going with it. There's no changing it. He
Mm.
went to the future. He tried to do what he wanted to do, but at this point in time, there's no change in Revelation's mind. He's going to do what he wants to do. So, being where he's at right now, in the mindset that he is in, how is he going to navigate this process of coming to this singular moment where it cannot be changed? How can I rally the troops?
I mean, it's funny because I didn't do it intentionally, but I will kind of, I'll tell you one thing. Um, there's a line that I got which kind of like sets the stall of the series, which is where like someone close to him like fails him, right? And they say like sorry, you know, and he says to them, and it's early in the issue, so I don't think I'm blowing too much. He says, "I don't need sorry, I need soldiers,"
Mm.
Mm,
right?
Scott.
And so
Scott.
I think what you're saying is really interesting, and I think this is just again, this is my head canon. It doesn't eclipse anybody else's Cyclops, but you know, over the years, you've seen sort of like Magneto exert an influence over him. You've seen Professor X exert an influence over him. And like one of the things I think, the sort of the arc of Scott Summers is basically like outgrowing all of his fathers.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm.
Growing beyond Professor X's dream is very beautiful, but it's kind of insulated from reality in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ways. Um, Magneto's view is like colored by like unimaginable pain.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
Of just loss again and again and again. And I think one of the things that this story is sort of trying to establish is it's not trying to like reset him exactly, but it's trying to kind of get him to a place, I think, where he almost kind of, and I got to be very careful what I say, but basically like the realization that like a permanent attack posture is isn't possible either. You know what I mean? It's like they're I'm trying to be nebulous. I'm sorry. I know I'm not explaining
No, it's
myself very well there,
perfectly
Ashley, but
fine.
like, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be dancing too.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. And that,
Um,
that makes sense to me because looking at, I mean, because he tried to do what he could do in this last issue. I'm trying to kind of like have everyone understand that I've seen this.
yeah.
And what's crazy is that they're not trusting his judgment, being that he is Scott. You know what I'm saying? He's Scott. He's very calculated with everything that he does. So to me, it was kind of like I was thrown off kilter because when he did come back from that space and he's like, "Yo, this is what we have to do." I'm telling you guys,
Mm.
like I've seen this happen. This same thing. I'm telling you what's gonna happen next, and you guys are not listening to me.
Well, like,
But at the same
there's a
time, he
name for
wants
that.
better.
It's Cassandra complex.
Mm. Oh,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, like in like 12 Monkeys. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where like someone's like seen the future
Hmm.
and
Yep.
like they're like doomed, like in Greek myth, like they're doomed to like not be believed.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
That's
True.
fire, man. Now you told a lot of great stories over your 10-year span of writing, right? Are there any stories that you would like to see adapted into a live action?
Mm. Mm. Good question.
Um, well, that
Mm.
hmm,
Got him. You
uh
got him. You
Good
got
question.
him.
there might be
No.
something.
Oh, let's go. There might
Yeah,
be some in the works.
there might be something. Yeah.
Say that.
I love
That's
it.
Like
exciting.
again, like
That's exciting.
yeah, like I mean, now that I've said that, like it'll all fall apart,
No, no,
Nah,
because
no,
nah.
that's
no,
just the way
Hopefully,
it
no,
works.
no.
we gonna
But
rally
yeah,
behind you. If anything, if that falls apart, we gonna
Yeah,
rally,
yeah, we got to
man.
get on it.
I hope so. Yeah, like, but you know what I mean? Like it's awesome when that happens. But it's also one of those things like, um, what is it? A friend like Matt Rosenberg always says, like, what is it? He's got this phrase, like, I'm sure it's, but like, I love it. It says, uh, dance with the one who brought you. You know what I mean? Like,
Ah,
yeah, like, and so,
okay.
like, as much as like I love the medium of film and I love the medium of
Uh,
film, like I write for comics, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there you
Like,
go.
and like the joy for me is, like you open your inbox and you get a page from an artist that you're like vibing with completely, and like every page is Christmas, you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's the juice right there. And I don't think, like, don't get me wrong, like I think when if a film happens, I've got a couple of friends who've had films made, and their level of involvement like differs.
Hmm.
But I think like at a certain point, um, it's kind of out of your hands. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like you have to
mm,
kind of like let it go. And the thing that I love about this is like it's such a kind of intimate way of working. You know what I mean?
mm,
It's like it's a small team, and there's all these like digital kind of enhancements that have been done, but it's not really done hugely differently to how it was done like in the 50s. And it's a very kind of pure process. And I love that. I know that's like a long-winded way of me saying like, oh, if they don't make a movie of my stuff, like I don't care. Like I do care,
Yeah.
obviously. Like I got a roof that needs to be fixed. But like, but I think you I don't think you can write to that. You know what I mean? Like you can't like write a comic going like, and then I'll like you can't like write you can't write with a view to make because all you're going to do is like limit your own imagination because like there's this thing of like a comic's budget is infinite. You know what I mean? Or rather, I mean, Kieran Gillen would kill me for saying that. Like, there is a there is a budget, and the budget is time, right? It's
Yep,
the
Yeah.
artist's time is the
that's true.
budget. But by and large, um, you know, you are constrained. Your imagination is constrained by nothing. Whereas, like, when you start making movies, there are like 200 people who have an opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
That's the difference.
You're naming some powerful writers. Kieran Gillen is one of them as well. Power Fantasy is probably one of the most deep superhero movie comics I've ever read. Like it's super deep. But you just said something that actually tied into kind of a conversation that we were having previously regarding the movies that are being made out of comic books. And I think what's being lost is that on hand creator. You know what I'm saying? Like their influence, they should have more influence into the movie adaptation than they are allowed. I feel like, and I understand it's a power dynamic because you do have the people that are in film. They want to be that guy or that woman. They want to be that person to get all of the credits for doing it. When really the inspiration came from the originator of it all. So I do kind of understand where you're talking about because as a writer, as a comic book writer, you don't get enough attention. As far as I'm concerned, I think because when we're talking about the people that originally created the Supermans and Spider-Mans and stuff like that, they get the credits in the movie like character created by whatever. But the bulk of what you got for that movie came from those comic books.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in this realm of space when it comes to media, period, I think you would deserve way more. And I know you can't say that, but I can because we're here. We're for you, your hands are tied in that space. But I feel like you all deserve way more than you get. In this media, it's even the consumption of comic books. I feel as though guys don't get enough credit for, which is why you're here. And I think FleeBoy actually is the intent of this podcast is to give you your flowers and give you your attention that you deserve, that people put a face to the
Yes, sir.
name or the
Yes,
face
sir.
to the writing of everything that we're consuming as comic book enthusiasts. It's important. But moving it on to that adaptation to movies is so huge because we consume it in a different way, in a visual aspect rather than just a literary one. But your stakes, everything that you did, all that passion, hours that you put into it, it should be handed over. That same information that you should be a part of that growth or
I
that
agree.
birth of that thing. So
I mean the main thing like I think it's really interesting like to see um what like James Gunn I think in particular is kind of doing at the moment. Like I don't know whether you caught it, but like at the end of the Supergirl trailer, like there was like the end of the Supergirl trailer, I think like there was like a sort of like a title card at the end, and it was like to see what inspired Supergirl, pick up Supergirl, like I think Woman of Tomorrow
And
by
it
Tom
yeah,
King and Bill
matters.
Dizelli,
It
right?
matters. It
yes, it
matters.
And
does.
like James Gunn, I think is like making like a very kind of concerted effort
Hmm.
to like drive people into comic book stores. You know
Yep.
what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, and it's always interesting to me, like what drives actual like comic book hard copy sales and what doesn't. Like, I mean, I'm like there was a point I think where like the Walking Dead TV show and like the Walking Dead book were kind of like they were just like one hand was like washing the other. I think
Hmm.
Invincible does that. I think
Oh
Hmm.
like
yeah.
Invincible
Hmm.
like
Oh yes,
genuinely like drives people into comic book
yes, it
stores. They're
does.
like this is amazing. I'm gonna go pick up a comic book now. And but like I'm not smart enough to figure out like why that is. You know what I mean? Like I don't know like why it is that drives people into stores and maybe something else. They'll go and they'll watch the movie and it's like, well, like I've experienced that. Like I'm
Mm.
done.
Yeah. I'm
I
done.
Well,
don't
I
I
could
don't know
tell
what the
you.
difference is.
because of what you just said, right? When James Gunn and all that stuff came out, I can even show you. I've recently just pre-ordered from Third Eye Comics. Matter of fact, Tom King had the
Such a good store,
signing
man.
for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow that's coming out. I pre-ordered it because all the talk about Tom King for one, because I want to see like I heard it's so good this story,
Oh,
and
it
then
is.
James Gunn, you know, he put it out there like you should read, and I do want to read it. That way, going into the movie this summer, I know what to expect because you got Lobo in there, which I'm hearing he wasn't in the book, but I'll find out for myself. And then, you know, all that stuff. So I'm curious. So it's the marketing. You're right.
Mhm.
It's the way the producers and the directors are letting the audience know, like, hey, if you want to know more about this, just that simple detail, like you said, that
Mhm.
title card could catch the eyes of millions, if not
I
hundreds
I
of
will say though,
thousands.
like like and in like total kind of like humility and like I'm not gonna, nothing to do with me, but like the timing of that that X-Men Doomsday trailer was like right, it was like a week before our
Crazy.
FOC, and like I'd seen like my buddy Dennis Camp, he did like a bunch of stuff, like I think with like Ultimates, where he was like, if you want to
Mhm.
understand why Robert Downey Jr. is like Doctor Doom, you have to read Ultimates, which is like pretty, you know what I mean? Like he's much more kind of like he's more of a natural showman than like I ever
Okay.
could be. But like I was like, okay, well, like this trailer's just dropped. And so like I did like a couple times I was just like taking some like screenshots, and I was going like it's really nice of like Walt Disney's marketing department to like do like a live action trailer for the
Yep.
Cyclops book. I was saying like and it was getting like 3,000 likes or whatever. I was like, oh, it works. You know
And,
what I
and
mean?
he's
It
in the
And like
does.
suit.
I
He's
That
in the suit.
genuinely think that trailer gave us a bump. I
I,
genuinely think it gave us a bump. And like, thank you, Kevin Feige. You know what I
that-
mean?
Yeah,
so
that's pretty awesome. Go ahead, Blue.
I don't know if you probably do. I don't know if you understand or know the weight of the fandom of Cyclops when it comes to his suits
Yes.
and the aura and
Yep.
the designs he has because he carries them. He has so many people love him, people hate some. My only question, you ain't got to spoil nothing. Do we get something new for Scott that we haven't seen or that is a past suit that's gonna come back in your book?
He's
I
like,
tell you one thing, that 1 in 25 got a lot of suits on it for issue 1.
It did, and some of my favorites as well. But I'm aware that I'm kind of like I'm skipping the question.
It's all right. I'm trying to
Um
help
It's
you out.
no
I'm
issue.
trying to
Yeah,
help
no
you
No,
issue.
out, Alex.
no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, but like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you just got to eat your spinach, right?
Nah.
Like, no, he will not get a new costume.
Okay, all right.
All right. But you I think I think people I'm still gonna give the people what they want. Like, you know what I mean? But it's funny, like that whole kind of costume conversation kind of came up, and I mean, you're talking about like, the sort of the passion of the fan base and everything, and like again, because it was such a weird thing, because like, I've just been in like, I'm here like in a little office in like the north of England. I'm very, very far away from anything. And I've been an X fan like, since before I could walk practically. And like I was kind of unaware of the kind of depth of kind of feeling out there. And it's like, you get asked these questions that you think are kind of like softball questions of like, like what's your like least favorite? And you go like, like, like when he was wearing like the Eric the Red thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like there are people who love it.
Love it. Yes.
There are people who love it, and like
Diehards.
they are then upset with you, and you
Yep.
go, "Oh, I mean,
My bad.
ah," and you know what I mean? And like they're not wrong. No one's wrong.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of being aware that like when you're dealing with a character with this like level of a kind of expectation and level of kind of gravitas and everything, that like someone said something to me a while ago about, it was when I was first getting into like the when I was first like invited into like the X office, and like I was kind of like, I'm sure any writer in that group would say, nah, not at all. But like I flatter myself that like I was a sort of like I was like a deep bench, like affiliate member of the Krakoa team because like I did some like unlimited stuff. I did some
Ooh,
like
Uh-huh.
digital stuff during the Krakoa era. And like I was
let's
asked, like of all the
go.
characters that I wanted to use, like who do you want to use? And I was like, Maggot. Maggot's amazing. What a great thing. Like he's got like two like sentient parasites like in his stomach and they eat of his and they can eat anything and it's incredible. Um and like Mariwa and I were just like like geeking out like about Maggot. And like and I was told like right off and I was like, oh yeah, because I can do all this kind of cool stuff. And I was told like straight off the bat, like just bear in mind because it's X, right? It does not matter how, because I was like, oh yeah, like Maggot was such a cool idea, and I feel like he never really kind of got his due and everything, and it'd be really cool to kind of showcase him and all this stuff. And I was warned straight off the bat, I was like, look, because it's X, it does not matter how um, how many appearances they've made, even if it's a panel. Um, there is someone who has that as their like Twitter
Oh
AVI,
yes.
and they basically eat, sleep, and dream that character. I promise you, it does not matter who it is. Because
Hmm.
like I got a weird like I love all these like lifeguard and stuff. I was like, that's such a cool power and stuff. And I always wanted to kind of play with those characters, but like there is no one that you can treat lightly, which is I think it's healthy in a way because you know it teaches you that like no one's expendable, you
Mm-hmm.
know? I mean, not that I would treat them any because I always love these guys anyway, but it just reinforces that view that like no, like for someone out there, this is like a really, really important part of their lives. And you're showcasing someone that doesn't get a lot of, you know, doesn't get a lot of airtime or whatever. And you have to be respectful and you have to be diligent and you have to do your homework. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you cannot phone in X at all.
Yeah.
I agree. You were seeing it real time with Doug Ramsey. Doug Ramsey's, I mean, he had such a basic part in the New Mutants, basic, and now all of a sudden he's Revelation. You know what I'm saying? So he's the son of Apocalypse or whatever you want to call him now. But yeah, his part was yay big. Like he didn't last very long. So
What's that? What's the X character? Not the blob. He's like the little green
oh
goo.
Dude,
yeah,
One of my White and Nerdy. That's his favorite X-Men. I'm telling you, and he
yeah,
loves. So what you're saying is true. Like,
yeah. You're
and
right.
when it comes to X-Men, everybody got
Everybody.
somebody that's like, don't talk about him or I'm coming for.
yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Let's talk about that. Matter of fact, you said there's certain characters that you would like to play with, right?
Mm.
So, are there any characters that you haven't done that you would like to write? And what would your dream collab be on that project? Like, who would you want to be the illustrator? Who would you want to work on that project? Any character in fiction, mind you. It ain't gotta be just X-Men, just in fiction in general.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, because I will say this, right? Because there's a kind of etiquette, you know what I mean, around this. I sometimes feel like I'm sort of like oversensitive about it, but like I always feel like if it was me and like I was writing Fantastic Four and someone's like, I got a great Fantastic Four pitch, just you know what I mean? Like I don't I would never want to feel that anyone was like trying to get between me and my meal. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, I
Mm.
see.
So it's a tricky one because yeah, I have these people that I'd love to play with, but there are people who are handling them who are doing a beautiful job. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? I will say like um I did like a Hulk one shot like a few years ago that was like set in the Stone Age, which I think might be like the best thing, until Cyclops, I think was the best Marvel thing I'd done. Um, and like Phil's a friend, so you know, I would at some point in the dim and distant future when like everyone I like has had their shot, like I would like to do some Hulk stuff at some point. Um, I think it's safe to say I'd like to do more Batman because like there's always like
There we go.
quite a few Bat books running at any point. I'd like to do some more. I loved like Gotham stories just come so easily. And like which not to say that they're not hard work, but just like because like it's such a part of the culture, you can just like tap into it straight away. You know what I mean? Like you don't kind of get you don't bounce off it in quite the same way.
You did say you
But in
was
terms of
into
like all
horror,
media,
right? What
yeah. I
about
mean,
slashes? Would you like to do any actual slashes like Freddy and do a comic like that?
well, like I do have like my favorite movie, like hands down, like by a mile, is The Fly.
Ooh.
Nice, good
Um,
movie.
yeah, like that's like it haunts me. Um,
You got to keep
it's
watching.
it's it's the 40th anniversary like this year of like
Wow.
the Cronenberg like remake. Yeah, but that film like it made me want to be a writer. Like it like rewired my
Wow.
brain in a very like profound way.
Origin
Um,
story.
yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. But like it's again, man, it's like I have a lot of like I have a lot of love for like goofy horror. Don't get me wrong, man. Like I love Evil Dead 2. I love Night of the Creeps. I love Night of the Comet. I love
Night of the
Return of the Living Dead.
Creeps.
Like I love all that stuff. Um, but like horror where it goes the kind of extra mile and like actually like makes you think about like the human condition and all that stuff. Like The Fly did that for me. Like I read like a I got like sorry, but like I even got like books on like
Wow.
Cronenberg and stuff.
Oh, let's
Yeah,
go.
just to kind of like just to kind of consolidate it and stuff. But so and I do have like someone said like if you could do like a sort of because if you could do like a Fly sequel like would you? I was like yeah, and like I got like a pretty good idea for it I think.
Oh,
So like I'd love to get my hands on that. I'd love to do some aliens stuff. Like I
Absolutely.
picked up sorry, this is like show and tell, but like I picked up like a job lot of like some old
Nice.
Dark
Mm,
Horse stuff, man.
Good stuff.
Oh, so
yeah,
good. But
that's
like there was this one
Galactus.
like I didn't
Yep.
even know there was a Mignola one. I didn't even know it
Yeah.
existed.
I am a super fan of aliens. Like I'm trying to collect all that
Wow.
stuff, but I'm a super fan. You you said something. I know we asked a question about what character would you like to work with. What character would you like to give life to? Like something that you have in your head that you've written or a character or something. You say, you know what? I haven't seen this. Do you have anything that you have of your own, like a
Yeah.
character that you have that you say, I want to create this?
Like for myself or for like a big company, like
Whether it's for independent, like creator owned or whatever it is. Because I know we talk about. I'm big on, just so you know, just to kind of introduce myself. I love characters that are already here. However, I am big on new characters. I want to hear new stories, new characters. Do you have anything that you would love to give birth to?
yeah, 100%. It's like I was, and again, it's I have like a superhero thing that I want to do that's like an independent, um, and it's a strange one because I feel like the power fantasy has kind of, does this make any kind of sense? Like, I feel like it's given us permission to do it again.
Oh
Yep,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
absolutely, 100%.
there was a hot minute where it was like like you can't really do like indie
Yep.
superheroes at the
Right.
moment. You know what I mean? Like Invincible like has that niche and it's doing it beautifully, but like that's about all we can
Mm-hmm.
do. And
Mhm.
I feel like the power fantasy's kind of blown the doors open a little bit.
100%, and that's just because it's allowing us to see heroes in a different light. Like most people don't understand. Like they're trying to they're trying to control the power dynamic within power fantasy. So it's like a different take on superheroes. So Flea, if you have not already read that, it's a much more read. There's a lot of words,
It is.
but there's a lot of intent behind that series. So I highly recommend you dive into that. But
it's
go ahead,
called
Alex.
Power Fantasy.
Yep.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
power
Like
fantasy.
it's amazing. Like the whole thing is like a metaphor for like the proliferation of nuclear weapons.
Right.
So like it's there are like there's like a handful of like actual superhumans, but if they ever had a fight, it would
Mm-hmm.
end the world.
Yep.
In the
Mhm.
same way that like if one person launched a nuke, it would like
Hmm.
end the world because it would
Right.
set in motion like a chain of so it's
Right.
basically like I think was it the subtitle is like the the endless was it the endless battle against fighting or something. You know what I mean? Like they can't fight because
They can't.
everyone will die.
Yeah.
And
They,
is it
and if
published
they
by
do,
Indie? Who
Image.
is it published
it's
by?
image book. It's image book.
It's an image book.
It's image. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
so good. It's
it
so
is. It's
good.
definitely a different take on the look at superheroes. But like he said, so it sounds like you might be going into a different direction with superheroes, which I'm super excited about. We've seen it in movies with what is that movie, man?
Supercell on Netflix.
Supercell, not Supercell, the one with the young kid, and he just kind of went like kind of like the opposite of Superman. That movie. What was that called?
Brightburn.
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 That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen
I
King,
appreciated that because it was a
right?
totally different look at superheroes. But
Weird because that was written by Gunn.
what?
Yeah, it was
I didn't
written,
know
I
that.
remember
but
that.
like
Yeah.
it's super interesting because it's like, did you guys see the Superman movie this summer?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Of course.
Like
Yeah.
you know the whole thing about like Krypton like actually sent him to conquer Earth.
Yeah.
That's the plot of Brightburn, which James Gunn also wrote.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
he's kind of playing with,
He's playing with the yeah.
Multiple
yeah.
things. Yeah.
It's dope. But I'm excited. Hopefully, I know you can't really say much because I know if it's probably in the works, if you're writing it, you can't really say much about it. But I'm gonna definitely be tuned into that because that's one thing I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for new, fresh takes on these heroes or stories.
Well, I appreciate. I mean, look, I mean, I will say like I get a kind of, I mean, I'm lucky. Like I get a phenomenal like amount of freedom with, like everything I asked for with Cyclops within reason. Like I was given, you know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like I was at no point like hamstrung or kind of told like you can't do that. Like Tom Brevoort is like a really generous like editor, and I think he's got a lot of vision. And so he kind of gave me the space that I needed to kind of, again, in all sorts of ways to just tell, like, I basically kind of said, like, I really want to do like a brutal, like down and dirty story with this guy. And I want to kind of effectively take away his power, right? Which is
Mm.
like, it's one of the reasons why people buy a ticket, right? Like they want to see the
Yeah.
guy do the thing.
Being.
And I want to take that away. And like Tom was like, nah, go at it, do your thing. People haven't seen this before. Go.
Hmm.
Exactly.
And I was super grateful for that. Um, in terms of my own stuff, I think like when you're doing a new take on something, because it's an interesting one, right? Because 9 times out of 10, Watchmen got there first. Like
Hmm.
like if you read
Hmm.
that book closely, right? Every possible reading of superheroes is kind of in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
They
It's
found
Hmm.
it.
so it's
Yeah.
so beautifully constructed.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
it's very, very difficult to make any kind of like new statement using them. But one of the things I think that has changed since Watchmen is like the world, right?
100%.
And I think that's why something like the Power Fantasy and also like 20th Century Men by Dennis Camp and Stepan Morian. I don't know if you guys have taken a look at that, but that was basically like dramatizing like the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan using superheroes, and it was incredible.
Hmm.
Like absolutely incredible. Um, The Winter Men by Brett Lewis and John Paul Leon. I don't know, that was for
I
years
never
ago,
heard
but
of
like
that
that
one.
was again, like, I think that was like an original. It was like a crime book where there's like I think it's like one panel of superheroes in like a whole graphic novel. Like they're present in the world, but they're just pushed right to the back. But
Wow.
like I was saying before, it's like dials, right? Like you can do something really interesting with a superhero book if you turn the dial down. Marvel's did that, right? Marvel's was like, what if we do like a superhero book, but like our protagonist is just a guy.
Hmm.
When you turn these dials, like something original
Can
comes
happen.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I kind of want to give the viewers and the people that we all look so highly up to you, writers and artists and creators. I want to know from you. I don't want to put you in a box with your friends, but if you currently reading comics, I know you're busy writing on a week basis on New Comic Book Day. What is like one from the big two and one from like indie that you like? Not to say your favorite, so you don't. But like, what is one where you're like, what's coming out, and when I get home, I need to read this because I enjoy this so much.
Oh, oh la, 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 la. I love the power fantasy. I do. I think what Dan's doing with Nightwing is incredible. I've been loving Dark Patterns as well that Dan's been doing with Hayden Sherman.
Yeah,
Like just a real like hardcore kind of like Batman because like crime story.
that story's
Um,
amazing. So sad
yeah,
it's ended. Yeah, the story's amazing.
that I think that's a phenomenal book. I love what Dennis has been doing with Ultimates. I love what Chris Condon's been doing with like Ultimate Wolverine. I love what he's been doing with Green Arrow. Um, it would be remiss of me not to. I mean, the standard ones like um, like uh, Kelly Thompson, like and Hayden as well, like on Absolute Wonder Woman, Scott and Nick.
Amazing.
I'm saying like these are like close friends. They're not. It's Mr. Snyder to me. Like like Absolute Batman. I think is just a phenomenal kind of re-envisioning of like the whole mythos. Just when everyone thought that you couldn't say anything new with Batman, like a long time
Find
to the book
something.
and just blows
Yep.
the doors wide open. Um, and yeah, indie wise, Assorted Crisis Events, I think is extraordinary. Just like every issue is like a new apocalypse
It's new.
scenario.
Yep.
Like, was it the picture of like, Crisis on Infinite Earths if it was being experienced by like normal people?
No, yep.
The power fantasy, which we kind of mentioned before, I think is wonderful. Um, uh, what else have I enjoyed recently? Resurrection Man,
That was, oh
by
my, that was so
Ram
good.
V and
That art, oh my God.
Anand, right? Like
Um,
he's just an absolute monster.
the book's
Also
amazing.
like New Gods as well, like Ram and Evan Cagle. That was a beautiful, beautiful book.
So you're
Um,
tapped into a
Yeah,
lot of
he's
greatness.
tapped
Yeah.
in.
That's all I need to know. You're tapped into
I
so
want to I
much
want to
DC.
greatness.
ask you a question before we get to our fun
Yeah.
questions and eventually have to let you go,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But writing, right? The process of writing Cyclops or any other project, right? And you're currently reading all these great books. Does sometimes do you take a step back from reading to focus on your work? Because I know like some artists, like I heard Eminem say that before, right? Like, hey, when I'm writing that album, I don't listen to other songs. That way they don't influence my story. Do you do somewhat of the same thing? Like, okay, it's time to get to work. Let me, put these back issues aside or, put these on the back end until I finish this story. Or do you just go with the flow?
um, like when I'm in like a writing mode, like I tend to read a lot more prose. Um, because again, there is like I guess like an anxiety of influence. And there is always that, but then I also find like it's a really like comics is like a really collegiate atmosphere. So one of the things that I kind of find is that if I'm stuck on if I'm stuck on kind of like how to like so, say like I got an action sequence and I've only got like 2 pages to work with, like what am I going to do? Just look at some Kirby, man. You know what I mean? Look at some Kirby, um, or like um read something that someone else is doing for like 2000 AD, which is like an exercise in compression.
Mhm.
You know, when you do all that stuff, it actually kind of like frees you up in a lot of ways. And frankly, like I mean, I'm not going to make any kind of bones about it. Like I'll call people as well, like
There you
if I'm
go.
stuck. You know what I
There
mean?
you
Like
go.
I don't have any kind of like I don't have any like ego. Well, no, I don't have any ego, but like I don't have like such an ego that like I can't like call a peer or a friend and just go like, look, I'm stuck on this. Like, could you help me?
Mhm.
I do that all the time. Like to the point, like I'm actually in a writer's studio. Like me, Ram V, Dan Waters, Ryan O'Sullivan. Like we all, like yeah, like we all talk pretty much every day.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, so
All
I mean,
releasing
I'm
some
I'm I'm
some
not
some good
saying that
books.
like I wrote Detective Comics, like you know what I mean. Like if
Yeah.
any of
Yeah.
us ever got if any of us ever get stuck, like you press the big red button and there's like someone there for you,
Hey,
and it's
that's
lucky as well because
awesome,
like
man.
yeah
Having a
yeah. So
shoulder to lean on is amazing, especially in in the industry like that, man. That's amazing. Now, this part of the show, right? I do this with all the interviews. These are some of the fun questions. And right now we're giving away a PS5 and we're also giving away a Nintendo Switch 2. All you got to do is like, comment, and
To me?
subscribe. And it's called a recommendation section. Alex is gonna give us a recommendation that means something to him, whether it's a movie, a song, something that inspired you in life. And my cat just jumped on me. Excuse me, y'all. He wanted to make a guest appearance. But Alex, give us a recommendation. Your job as the viewer is to check out the recommendation, come back, leave a comment about it, and that's how you enter the giveaway. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And just for UNCaped Podcast, we are giving away Scott Snyder's signed Absolute Batman issue 5 first print mint condition. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, Alex, give us a recommendation, whether it's a book, a project, a movie, something that means something to you that, could tell us your story.
Oh, wow. My story. So something like deeply personal to me.
Yeah, something deeply personal that you may have read or seen and you connected with so well. It's like, man, this tells my story, or this, I relate to this so much on a personal level.
Whoa, that's so like
You
no,
start
because like
looking at the
you know what I
shelf.
mean? Like they're instantly like 50.
Mhm.
Like anyone in the room, you know what I
That's
mean?
how my brain works. I hate narrowing down anything. I can't.
All right. I'm gonna really like I apologize in advance. But like I'm just gonna kind of do the thing where like it's almost like the last thing I picked up. You know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
the like I'll be real quick, but like I'll try and make it not like fiendishly difficult to get hold of.
Nah, go
Uh
ahead, take your time, man. We here to get into your mind, man. We want to see what you reading.
this.
Black
Mm, black
Hole,
hole.
Charles Burns. Interesting. What's that about? Talk to us.
It is it's so like it's beautiful. It's like a really like dreamlike body horror set in like a small town in the States where basically physical mutation is effectively like an STD.
Mm.
Uh, when I say that's deeply personal to me, like don't know, like, not that, but like the tone of it is just really kind of like I can't describe it. It feels like a dream.
Mm.
And it's absolutely beautiful. And it's like just the comic form at its I'm trying to find a sort of like appropriate like it's like it's definitely like for adults, you know what I mean? But it feels like a sort of it feels like an indie movie, but it's like an
Mm.
indie movie with this really like elevated like horror like sci-fi conceit that just again just like the potential is incredible. But yeah, like Black Hole by Charles Burns, like an authentic masterpiece.
Let's go.
I already looked it
Heroes,
up.
villains. Y'all already know what it is, man. Go check out Black Hole by Charles Burns and enter our giveaway. And make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. Don't forget to like, leave your comments, and please go read the book. Don't comment something like, "Oh, Black Hole was awesome." No. Make sure that you read it, and that's how you enter the giveaway. But usually I do a Mount Rushmore of voice actors. But since you're not a voice actor, we're gonna do who is on your Mount Rushmore of comic book writers all time.
Oh,
That Mount
uh,
Rushmore. Who
how
would you
many
put
do I
on?
get?
Yeah,
Four.
four.
I get four.
Yeah,
Hmm.
four.
Alrighty. Uh, but bear in mind, like I'm gonna get on some people's shit list. Like,
It's all right. Hopefully one day they'll be on the show and they'll get a turn.
okay, so Alan Moore, definitely.
Yep.
Denny O'Neil,
Okay.
Christopher Priest, and
We got one more.
I think. I'm gonna go with like I'm desperately trying to find someone that like they're all people I like. I'm desperately trying to find people like I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Because then it's gonna
Yes.
get weird.
Yep.
Um,
Going to a call, they're like, hey, we
yeah,
saw
yeah,
you.
exactly. Like so.
Hey, we seen
Um,
that. We seen that reel on your Instagram, bro.
yeah. Um, and Ascenti.
Okay.
Okay, fire list now.
Like
Thank you.
that like all timer Daredevil run. And Ascenti, JR,
Mhm.
incredible.
Great
Hey,
list.
Alex, man, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This show has been, our appreciation and our way to say thank you for all the amazing work you've done all over the years, creating some of the most epic stories and giving life to these characters. Can't wait to see what you do with Cyclops. Heroes, villains, February 11th. Yo, better be in that comic book store picking up Cyclops first issue. Make sure you pre-order these books. Also, one more question: is this going to be how many issues is this going to be? Can you say or not? Is it going to be
Five.
six,
It's yeah, it's
12?
five. It's
Possibility.
it's
Okay.
it's self-contained. It's its own thing. If it does, people keep asking me like, is there any scope for it being an ongoing? Um, like this is a mini, but
Okay.
obviously, like if this overperforms, then who can say?
There you go. Yep.
And
Get
that's
that
how you
get
do it,
that
man.
call.
So make sure y'all pre-order. Make sure you make them calls. That's the best way to support. Alex, let people know where to find you at.
Yeah, thanks. Like, you can. I mean, nobody has my surname, so you can find me pretty much anywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky, Facebook. Not so much Twitter these days because it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like the usual places. Yeah.
Links will be provided for y'all in the description below. Let's give a big round of applause for Voice of the Heroes UNCaped first episode. Also, Blue Jack, Galactic Photog, let people know where they can find you at.
TikTok, Instagram, Blue Jack, tap in with me. As always, I give you the visuals, I give you the ideas, I give you what's in my mind, man. Check me out.
Instagram and TikTok. You already know Galactic Photog. Let's go.
All links will be provided for y'all. And as always, heroes, please don't forget to love yourself. Pass that love on and love others. And if no one told you so, just know we love you. Voice of the Heroes, signing out. What's good, everybody? You already know who it is and what it is. And if you don't, it's the one and only one, FleeBoy Jetson, host of the Voice of the Heroes podcast. And today we open up with a brand new podcast called UNCaped. And I'm here to announce our two new guests and new family members of the Voice of the Heroes family, man. Let's first introduce the man to my what is this, right? Blue Jack, Blue Jack, what's going on with you, my brother? How you feeling today?
What's good, my G? What's good, Unc? How y'all feeling, man? First episode, we here, we lit, we feeling good. You know what I'm saying? We ready to start our adventure together, man. Let's see great heights. I'm Blue Jack, as y'all see the name, comic geek, anime head, Power Rangers head, anything fandom, retro, I'm there, man. Since I was a kid, man, I've been seeing it all. I've been watching it all. I make sure I'm up to date on whatever I'm talking about so I don't look foolish, man. So I'm gonna make sure to give y'all my thoughts, my true opinions. And sometimes I'm gonna troll y'all, but yeah, that's me, man. That's me.
And let people know where they can follow you at.
Hey, man, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Jack. That's all you gotta type in, Blue Jack, on TikTok and Instagram. Trying to get my followers up. Y'all come support me, man. Check my content out. I talk about movies. I talk about TV shows. I talk about current comic books. I show y'all what I buy because I spend way too much bread. Yeah.
And all links will be provided for you in the description. So make sure y'all check that out. And please don't forget to go sub, follow, all that good stuff and support. And our next guest, man, the big brother of the show, man, the one with the knowledge. And he is our next host for UNCaped, man. Y'all are going to love him. Galactic Photog. Let them know about yourself.
What up, man? Galactic Photog here. Hey, listen. Brad from New York, all the way from New York, St. Long Island, Amyville. If y'all ain't know, I gotta always shout out my town, man. Amyville, we live. What up? Listen, so y'all, man, look, I'm an OG. I'm the old head of the group. You know what I'm saying? I've been around a long time. I seen this shift so much. You know what I'm saying regarding the toys, the anime, the cartoons, the comics. I've seen it all evolve, man. So I mean, I'm that guy that kind of really kind of dives into the nostalgia of the geekdom that we are in, y'all. So if you want to connect with me on that old head stuff, man, I'm here for it all. Yeah, as you can see, you know what I'm saying? I got the wall here. You know, I love comic books. I've been doing this since the 80s. So I've
Ooh,
been around a long time, y'all. As you can
definitely,
see
and he
also.
Show him the
and
shirt.
let
Show him
people
the
know where
shirt.
they can follow you at, man.
Hey, Galactic Photog on TikTok and on IG. Same name, both. You can't miss Galactus Photog. So a lot of people say Photo G. I am a Photo G too, so I'm a photographer. But Photog, that's what's up.
Also, man, links will be provided for you in the description below. Now that you met the panel, right? It's time to get to know us a little better. But before we do that, I do want to tell y'all a little about the podcast. Now, this will be about superhero themed stuff. So whether it's movies, video games, comic books, etc., we will have you covered and provided the latest news and updates all through the genre. Now, Photog and Blue Jack will be providing you with so much knowledge. We have, the Indies master right here. So if you're into indie comics, man, we got you covered on that. If you're into Power Rangers, if you're into anime, Blue Jack got you covered in that, especially on the DC type wave. So we got you covered
You
in
see you,
all
baby.
angles. We will be airing every Monday. So make sure you click that link, like, comment, and subscribe. Every Monday we'll be live. Now, well, not live, it will be pre-recorded, but y'all can still check us out and get those memberships now because hey, I got a huge announcement to make. For all the heroes out there, we are doing a giveaway for the first ever Voice of the Heroes Uncaped episode. A signed autograph of Absolute Batman, first print by Scott Snyder, issue 5. All you have to do to enter is like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. We will be doing more giveaways monthly. All you got to do is become a hero. And you get so many props, man. You get so many perks. You get first class behind the scenes to some of the interviews we'll be having, which stay for the episode, man, because we got a huge surprise for y'all, man. We got an interview with a great writer today. I'm not going to give away any spoilers yet because y'all going to have to check us out. But now let's get into it. All right, Blue Jack, when you first start doing content creation, right? We gotta get to know y'all brothers, right? We gotta
Yes,
let the
sir.
audience know some of your likes, dislikes, things like that. Now, of course, you've been covering comic books for a while, doing new comic book days, all types of trends, right? What do you think could change for the comic book community in a beneficial way that hasn't yet?
I really feel like you see, and I'm in a state now where you just see a lot of the same stuff when it comes to comic content. And a lot of people, when they speak in the tone of trying to be safe, not really just giving what they truly believe and what they truly feel from reading these books. The more of us that go out there and read the books and tell people what we feel about them, be honest. You don't got to be harsh, but be honest. Tell people, hey, this how this book made me feel. I can't stop thinking about this book. Like this book related to me with my childhood or my past or how I see myself. I want to see myself in the future. That can help start a new wave and differentiate everybody because everybody has different lifestyles, different experiences, different viewpoints, different thoughts. The more of us that come out and just be honest and just give what we think from our brain can never not be beneficial, in my opinion. And it'll change the game because everybody will be different, hands down.
I agree with that. Now, Photog, you've seen this industry develop through decades, right? What do you think has benefited artists or writers from then to now? Because you've seen, the industry shift so much, even live action stuff of their work from the past getting adapted into movies, screenplays, video games, all types of stuff. What do you think has been the biggest change from when you was enjoying comics until current events?
That's a good question, man. I think what really changed the dynamic was technology. Our technology gave us way to a lot more forms of art, and I think when we talk about evolution, and it is much needed because we have to be able to attach or gain a specific audience. The audience changes; they get older. You know what I'm saying? And we getting older, then you got the younger generation. Technology changed with them real quick. So being able to adapt and shift is something that has been beautiful for artists to actually kind of change the way they actually do their art. Another thing is I think what really benefited is the adaptation of uh, other publishers coming into the fray and saying, "Hey, we want to showcase other artists in a different way," and that may be writers, artists, or whoever. That colorists. I mean, everybody that has to do with comic books, they actually contribute to everything that has to do with that specific book that we know and love. But I think these individual or these independent publishers that are out here now, they're changing the game, and I feel like it's a much needed space because a lot of the content is very relative to society right now. So it's a beautiful thing to see.
Speaking of some of the independent comic book companies, right? Like Image and Boom Studios and Dynamite and Dark Horse, all these other great labels that's been putting out amazing content over the summer. Just all last year has been phenomenal. Years past years, let's talk about it, right? Indie comics have really put a huge staple in the game now. Like they can't be overlooked. It's not something that you can just overlook anymore. The big two got to work hard now to provide great storytelling because you got stuff from Image coming out swinging that mostly everything that they drop now is getting adapted. Studios is just eating it up like, oh, I'll take you, I'll
Yep.
take you. So what do you think the big two have to do right now to elevate their storytelling and their product?
Ooh. So I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna admit to something that I probably don't like to admit right now, but and that's mainly because I was a huge Marvel fan growing up. And I was not so much a DC fan, and it's not because of the different characters, it was more the feel of the comic. Like Marvel felt like more of a comic to me at the time when I was actually in reading comics, and DC was a little bit more darker. So of course as a kid I didn't attract to that energy. I attracted to more so like something that I can visualize seeing as a cartoon being into a comic book. So I'll leave it at that. So I'll say like this: DC has now changed the landscape of comics where they're taking their characters and they're evolving their characters. There's a difference between you having new stories being adapted and utilizing the same characters. What and DC said, okay, well we'll use these same characters, but what we're going to do now is we're going to shift the narrative and we're going to change the landscape of these characters that way they feel fresh and new. I don't think Marvel has done that. I think where they're trying to, but at the same time, I don't feel like they're putting enough effort into changing the stories in a way where it's engaging and people are gonna actually attach onto those new stories instead of just taking it and fusing characters together. You know, because I don't think that's much of a plan. It's not creative. I mean, anybody can take characters you already have and then mesh them together. That's not that's not evolution. That's not growth. All you're doing is you're pumping out content for the
Yeah,
masses. You know, you're
yeah.
making it into a money grabbing situation. Whereas I think DC saw an opportunity to say, okay, well, I want to do things a little bit different. We need to now take the characters we have that everybody loves and knows. But instead of us kind of like fusing things together, let's now take the new stories that we have and we make them bigger. Let's make them bigger, and that people just say like, "Wow, I'm reading this for the first time. Like this is I've never seen this character in this light." So I think that's something that's very good. So I'll say that first with that. The next part of it is with the independents. The independents have now what happens is those same stories because honestly Dark Horse has been around for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
and so has Image has came out in the 80s, you know, that core team that created them, right? I think they saw an opportunity to say we need to step away from what people are normally seeing with these superheroes. Let's now take the relative things that people relate to every single
There you
day
go. There you
and
go.
make them into stories. I
Yep.
think that's where the changes happen with those independent. They're saying, okay, well, we heroes have been around for a very long time, right? They've been around for a very long time. But what about the normal humans that are heroes too? Like, how can we make them a focus in our stories? And they're doing it in a way where it's like none. I relate to those stories because I see myself in them. You know what I'm saying? Like as you said before, they want to take the audience and you want to see yourself in that situation. Because it's kind of hard to see ourselves as Captain America or Silver Surfer or Batman, Superman, these are aliens, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's hard to see yourself in those positions. But let's take some characters, make them super relatable. They may have some little bit of superpowers, whatever it is. Maybe just enhanced abilities, but let's make them more human and let's make them more relatable. So that's what those independent publishers are doing. So I think what DC and Marvel need to do is take a little bit of information from that, just a little bit of it, and start integrating it. But DC's doing that, especially with the Vertigo coming out. They're creating new stories. They're much darker stories, but they are doing it right. They're creating like all these new characters coming out with Vertigo is gonna be phenomenal. I'm already looking at months ahead, like I need to get this for this new character. Like
Yeah.
that's what making me want to go ahead now and invest in more DC is the new characters that I can actually attach to.
I
That's
love
true.
that.
That's
Now,
100% true.
with DC last year reporting over 800, what, 80 million sold just from the Absolute Universe. Blue Jack, I got to ask you the first segment. Do you think the Absolute Universe has not only revived DC comics, but comics in general?
I think that's without a question, it has revived. You only get these type of things every kind of 5 to 10 years when it comes to the industry. The industry of comics always needs a refreshing. We know that. We know it needs refresh. MCU refreshed Marvel. That's how they got their new breath of life. DC, they kind of took a dip for whatever reasons. With comics, took a dip with storytelling. They didn't have a direction. Then you had the movies that weren't going really well. But with the new stuff they're doing now, with the Absolute Universe branching out into to the main universe, the thought out events, letting one person actually be in control of all these things and have a spearhead and believe in that person and Scott Snyder, it's 100% changed the game. It's changed the game for DC. It's changed the game for comics and the comic industry in in a whole. You got the LCSs. I tell people all the time, talk to your LCS people, whoever the owners is. If you can go in there, make a connection and talk to them, they will give you all the knowledge that you will ever need just to have a conversation with them. New people every day are coming to pick up comics just because of Absolute Batman. All you need for somebody to get into comics is to get something to get them to walk in the door. Once they walk in the door and they see what we see, it opens their viewpoint. They're now not feeling, oh, maybe it's a little corny or I ain't about to read. No, because they don't care. You start seeing that art. You start seeing them covers. You start seeing people come in and have conversations like a barbershop in the LCS. And you're like, man, I want to be a part of that. Let me see what they're talking about. At the same time, you got investments, right? These books now have become investments again. They're not just pushed out and nothing. You got Absolute Batman #1 that dropped 200,000 copies. That's it. 200,000. That is think about, you would never think that would be a good number in the 2024, 2023. That is a perfect number for an investment to make the book worth something. Now last week, we just hit the 10th printing of issue 1 because the book is still selling. The book is still selling, right? So then you go from there with the absolutes, and then you got people, well, I like Absolute Batman. Let me see what real Batman do. I like Absolute Wonder Woman. Let me see what real Wonder Woman doing, right? Let me see what these other characters are doing that's not the Absolute Universe. Let me check out some of these indies. I like zombies, right? I like horror. You get in there, you start talking to your LCS owners, and they start recommending stuff to you. They start tickling your ear, and you're like, yeah, I might find something, man. I might have something. Once you read one book and you love it, you locked it, you can't stop. You can't not finish that story, right? And you're like, oh, I gotta wait a month. Now, what I'm gonna read in this month, right? So when it comes down to absolute changing the game and being so instrumental for the comic industry, yes, 100%, because it's getting people that have never read comics in the door for whatever reason. That's all you need when it comes to comics. Just get somebody in the door.
Hey, I agree with you 100%. Now, I do want to ask you, once you get in the door, right? A lot of people, say from a collector standpoint, right? You come in the door, and how do you know if you're a new collector what variant to grab? Because nowadays, when a number one drops, you have maybe 7 to 8 different variants come out, and not including foils and one in 25s, one in 50s, one you feel what I'm saying? So you
Mhm.
have so many different variants coming, and say you're on a budget. How do you know what variant or what cover will, you know, explode? Photog.
I gotta be honest, there's no real way of telling that. And that's just because what happens is you have these artists that are really hot, and then they like Ryan Otley. I use him as an actual example. You have Ryan Otley, who's probably one of the best, I think, one of the cartoon artists that to me that is out there right now. But his comics and his variants, they don't sell a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like only like the Invincible series. But when he goes out of his realm and he does work for DC or Marvel, whoever it is, his variants don't really sell. I think it's really tough. It's really tough for us to actually say what does well. I think it's really based off of consumerism. You know what I'm saying? Like the more people actually buy it, the hotter the book is. I mean, because when I look at it, like the new Superman book, Superman #1, the A copy, that's a $5 book right now. The issue that just came out, I think it was 15, something like that, with the black background and his cape that looks like fire, right? That book is $50 right now.
I missed it. I missed
$50.
it. I
It's
missed it.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy that when you think about it, because there's no other book in that run that's even that amount at all. Not in Superman run. The whole Superman run. That's the only copy, the only book cover that's going for $50 right now. That's a retail book, meaning you bought that book at an LCS,
Hmm.
not another like retailer like you got things like Golden Apple exclusive or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's actually it's a direct version. It's a direct variant. So direct variants for that to be $50 is crazy, but you'll never know. Like again,
Mm.
it's all on based off of the consumers and how they embrace different covers. But you really can't tell. The thing is, I would say is especially for new collectors, collect what you like. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it. Collect what you like, collect who you love. You'll find that as you start collecting, you'll recognize the artist more. Do your research on the artist. You love that cover? Do your research and say, hey, I want to find out more about these visuals that I'm seeing with this specific artist, and then start collecting them if you really like their art. That's the best way to do it. But outside of knowing ahead of time, yeah, there's no way of telling.
Good. So, Blue Jack, my thing to you, right, is do you think it's a safe bet to just go with the A cover?
A cover is always the safe bet. That is going through history with comics in general. Look at most of what's on my boys Galactus wall. They're A covers. Most of them are A covers because variants and stuff, they've always been great, but they've been for a certain type of consumer. They're not necessarily what people dive into when it comes to retro and old school comics. So now, most people that come into comics, they look at the price tag. So you like, you know what I mean? The A cover is cheaper and they just want the book. So A cover is always going to be the safest bet because it's the cheapest. And at the same time, it's the most likely to be worth something if that book becomes popular enough. You know what I mean? If you let's take in Exquisite Corpses, right? Exquisite
Mm.
Corpses just got picked up. They're only on issue what 10 now, 8 or 10 or something like that, and they just got picked up for a movie, right?
It's on 9, matter of fact.
9, yeah, and they just got picked up for a movie. So now all those books that were sitting on the shelves, they've all been sold. I've
Mm-hmm.
gone to both of my LCSs. They've had a few sitting on the shelf. Some issue 3, some issue 5s, some blind, some of the bags with the cards in them. They're gone now. They're gone. And at the same time, if you didn't pre-order them now, you can't get them because the stores are like they're only pre-order now because they don't know what's not going to sell. So they're not going to buy 30 books just because of the movie because they have to also make the right choice. So I would say A covers all the right way, always the right way, the easiest way, and then you might just get lucky. But what I do, I buy like Galactic said, buy what you love. I love variants. I love
Mm-hmm.
foils. Galactic could tell you since I started, I did this thing every Friday, top 5 variants of the week because a lot of people weren't buying variants. I love art. The book is great always, but I want to see that art in the front. That's what I'm going for. So yes, A covers are great for investments, but for my collection, I'm going variants and fulls every day.
Hey, I
I
love it.
agree.
Now, when you go variants, right? Do you think this is an honest question, right? Do you think sometimes, because I done seen this multiple times where people done made videos and they feel like it's starting to become a cash grab? Like, like, are they doing it for the culture now, or are they doing it, some companies, not all, but do you think they're doing it just for a money grab? Like, hey, you know what? We know this, you know, these, especially with these blind bags, right? A lot of people are kind of on the fence with them. One, you had a company like, DC or Image do it really well, and then you had Ultimate Endgame come out, and everybody's like, bruh, like this is crazy. And my comics are coming damaged. I'm getting repeat cover A's or trash variants. Do you think? How do you feel about the blind bag?
I could jump in there. So
Yeah, go ahead, bro. How you feel about the blind bag?
I'll chime in after you. Go ahead.
So, okay, it's fun, right? I mean, it's always fun to have to be able to be surprised. It's just like anything else when you talk about like the package cards when we used to collect Pokemons or basketball cards, right? You get surprised to see what you have inside the pack. So I think as a kid, that was always the fun part of collecting, is because to find out what you got inside. Here's what I have to say about blind bags, though. I think because this is not the first time blind bags existed. Blind bags existed way beforehand. I think what happened was is Beast when
Battle Beast.
Battle Beast came out, Battle Beast kind of like reinvigorated the whole blind bag phenomenon, right? And I think it was because there were so many different opportunities to actually get something. And I think people was like, okay, well, this most exclusive thing that I can find in there. I can find a signed copy, or I can find the more rare copies. I think it is a cash grab in the sense of the company itself taking advantage of the community, the comic community. They absolutely are. When you look at it from that aspect. Then you can look at it from the other side of the coin, saying, okay, well, we have these artists that are not interior artists, and they're not cover artists dedicated to DC Marvel, because Marvel has this specific artist that they'll choose every single time to go jump on a run, whether it's a cover or whether it's interior art, right? So I think the variance in the blind bag scenarios, it enables other artists to be seen, to actually get the opportunity to have their art put out there. Because right now, as it stands, it's a very congested industry when it comes to art. Because people find out, number one, it's a lot easier to go to comics than it is for you to actually kind of have a gallery of art, you know what I'm saying, and kind of sell to those type of sellers. It's tough unless you're an established artist like Alex Ross. Alex Ross he can actually have a building with his prints and his arts to sell them because people know who he is. You know what I'm saying? So I think those other artists, when it comes to comic books, it's a lot easier to get their work out there, but at the same time, it's tough to become a constant being seen in the industry. So having a cover, it helps them. So that's the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
What about
I
you,
think
Blue Jack? How you feel about the blind bags?
when it comes to the blind bags, everything Galactic said is 100% true. I think the issue that comes with us as consumers, that we get mad about certain stuff, it comes down to the price and what you can get for that price. So let's go to the Battle Beast. Battle Beast was $3.99 for the blind bags,
Mm-hmm.
the same price as the A cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you get something above the A cover, you've already won. Doesn't mean it's going to be worth anything, but you've won. You've won the lottery. You didn't get the A cover. You can still get the A cover, but you paid the same price as the A cover. When you look when DC did the first blind bag with Batman, it was $9.99, but every cover was a foil. The standard price for a foil is $9.99, right? So you're paying for what you're getting. That you can get your 1 in 25s, you get 1 in 50s. You won the lottery, but you're already getting something special, right? TMNT the same way. The issue that came with when Marvel did the Endgame one, they were $6.99. A covers, It's not $6.99. So you're paying up for something for a chance. Yes, it's a chance, but it's like I can get the A cover where I could just pay $4.99. You just upcharge me $2 for the A cover. That's not special. Sitting right there on the shelf. I'll pass that up. Right. So yes, I can get a cover signed by RDJ, but that's a 1 in 5,000 chance. There was 5 of them in the world, right? Or 3 of them in the world. Somebody finally found them that wholesale. So I think it's a balance. You definitely have to understand it from the company side, and you have to understand it from both sides. And it's just a wave right now in the community. But at the same time, it's your choice to take that risk. You're right. You can be mad at it, just like you can be mad at the lottery, just like you can be mad in the casino. It's your choice. It's your money to make that choice. So
I
make the
think people
smart choice.
were
It's
more
a
or
gamble.
less mad about the Marvel blind bags because of the damage. It was
Yeah.
so many damaged comics. I think that's what was the underwhelming part about it. Now they got another one dropping soon. That's the Daredevil blind bag. Are y'all excited about that? Are y'all gonna be copping that?
I
am.
will tell you before you go, the blind bag for Marvel, it was literally nothing they could do.
No.
Nothing they could do. I don't know if y'all know the story. Galactic sound he know. I talked to my LCS before they even got to the LCSs. They were already emailing.
Yep.
I collab with my LCS Comics Connection. I got the promo ones. The promo ones were fine. They were different because they were done at a different time. When they wholesaled them and they boxed them up, they were already done and already damaged, already paid for, already shipped
Jeez.
out at that point.
Yep.
So either it was Marvel giving everybody their money back, which is not going to happen because they're
No.
public. They're not doing that. Or it's just people buy the blind bags and complain about it. And then Marvel had to take it on the chin, right? It was out of their hands at that point. Yes, it's their responsibility because it's their book. It's too far gone at that point.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be honest. I received, y'all seen it. I received like 6, 7 of them, and fortunately, all of them was great.
Yeah.
All of them was good. You know what I'm saying? In
You
great
got
condition.
lucky.
What about you, Galactus? How was
You got
yours?
mine was dinged up. I had some ticks,
Oh,
but and it's like they were all the ticks were always in the same spot. It's like 2 of them, one right below each, right below the first staple, and then above this other staple. So it's like, but the thing is for me, and I think what we have to understand is this. I think when the comics, first of all, when the comics come to your LCS, they're not bag and boarded, number one, at all. They do receive damaged product. They just don't show it. They don't show it to the consumers because they don't want the consumer to have it.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, when you look at your books, they're not in perfect condition. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they don't come at a 10. They don't come at, and just so you know how the rating scale goes, 10 is the best that you can actually get via CGC, whoever else grades it, right? So 10s are rare in itself. Tens are rare when you look at it. How many books are tens in CGC registry? I don't know, but it's very low, right? So, and then from there it goes down. So 9.8, 9.6 is 9.4, so forth and so on, right? So, and I feel like most people are getting upset because they already received a damaged book. But the truth is that the book they already have, if they buy one off of the shelf,
Damaged.
already
Damaged.
it's
Yeah.
already damaged.
Yeah.
It's already
It
damaged.
ain't
So
perfect.
it's you can't really get mad at that, and it's a gamble. Number one, all you're doing is really gambling. How I feel is this: I'm not gambling on the condition of the book. I'm gambling on the cover that I want. That's what you're doing, right? So whether or not it comes damaged or not is it doesn't make sense. Now, if it's completely folded, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a whole different story. If it comes folded and you see a big crease throughout the front, whatever it is, but I feel like those ticks happen. You can't really get mad at it. There's ways of fixing them. Well, some of them you can't fix all of them, but there's ways of fixing them to the point where they're not as prominent as they were when you got it. So I feel like, and I think a homie of mine on TikTok, he made a point. He said that we're not going to become millionaires off of these books anyway. So why are we upset that this book it comes in the condition that it comes into? And it made me think. I was like, that's 100% true because we can't dedicate or we can't foresee in the future this specific book being worth whatever it is. So you can't really get mad. And on top of that, there's a ton of them being printed. Like so, I mean, the odds of you it being rare is very low. So you can't really get mad at it.
This wasn't on my, list of questions to ask you. But being that you said that, right? I want to ask both of y'all this question. Has there ever been a book that you had in your younger years of collecting or reading comics that you don't have in your possession anymore that is really valuable?
Oh damn.
Not
So
me. Not me. I would just say no. Not me.
um so well I can't say that now because I do have it. But it took some money to get it. But there was one and it's like that 98, the New Mutants 98. You know what I'm saying?
That
With the first
hurts.
appearance of Deadpool. I had that. And it took me until like not even months ago, but maybe 4 or 5 months ago to obtain that book.
That hurts.
But yeah, that was it. But I have it now.
Now I would say when I was a kid, I had so many toys that would be worth
Oh,
Oh yeah,
crazy
man. Me
amounts
too,
right
man.
now.
I had everything. Remember the big Teenage
Yeah,
Mutant Ninja Turtle toys that
yeah.
came out back in the day? The
yeah.
big joints, man. It goes on. But all right, I do want to ask y'all a couple of more fun questions before we get into the Sam Raimi stuff that we got to talk about, right? If you two can have any duo in the industry work on something, what character would you want them to work on? Your artist and a writer of your dreams work on a particular character in any universe or any franchise. Like you could grab something that ain't even been adapted into a comic book series and throw it in there. What would y'all want to see?
You know, I'm a cheat. I'm a cheat right now. Y'all not gonna like this, but I'm a cheat. I already got that. I got Mark Wade and Dan Moore on Batman, Superman, World's Finest. That's all I ever
Oh,
needed right there. Mark Wade, he never gonna give you no crazy outlandish, but he always gonna give you good, consistent books. That's one of my goals. One of my guys. You got Dan Moore to hide his game everywhere in the industry. The brother's not putting the pen down for a second. I'm eating good. I'm eating good.
Oh man. I think okay, for me it would have to be Thundercats. And it would have to be instead of Lucio Perillo doing covers, I would want him to do interiors. And then
mm.
I would want my writer to be James Tynan. And that's because the depth of the character. I think the depth of the characters would be insane. You know what I'm saying? Because he would take them into a much deeper space and not so cartoony. I want to like and it's just because again, when I look at the aesthetics of what Lucia Perillo is doing to these characters, I really wish that these producers would take his character, take what he draws on that freaking book, and
Put
he
it in
put
the
it on
show.
screen because it's
Yep.
possible. He
Yep.
made them look like humans. He made them look like metamorphs or whatever they call them. I forgot what they call them, but he makes them look like animals, but as people. You take that same thing, it'd be crazy. But yeah, that's my thing. I think James Tynan and
Galactus.
Lucy Perillo
The
interiors.
depth, the depth of that book, all those characters already have so much depth. And
Right.
we're getting that now, but Tinian with his brain and his genius,
Hey,
Thundercats is legendary. You
hey,
Yep.
I
add
love it,
him,
man.
they become mainstream. Not
Mainstream.
bro.
It'll be
Hey, I
crazy.
love it, man. I would like me personally, I can't think of a writer that, is really into like science fiction stuff right now off the top of my head.
There's a
And
few.
but I would like to see a Voltron's comic book.
Oh, I love Voltron.
I
Like
love Voltron.
I would like to see a Voltron's comic book. I don't know who the collab would be with, but
They
I do
have one
like a
already.
couple. They
Yeah, they
got one?
did. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a few. They have few different variations of like the new modern stuff, and of course you
The new
got the
modern
older
stuff,
one.
yeah, I know
Yeah,
that, but
Hold on.
you got the original. I got the original up there too,
I
but you got the original.
yeah, I
Flea,
would like to see a new series.
did you watch the Netflix show?
I tried to tell him about it. He said no.
I
He
got
said
the
he
I
not
got
watching it.
the wolf is gone. They took it off. But the
What?
wolf, you know the wolf in that show?
Yeah.
I got it tatted on my leg. I love, bro. I could put that show on and just
I
chill.
was trying to tell him,
Galactus,
bro.
I'm telling you, it's gone. They took it off Netflix. Netflix made it, but it's not on Netflix.
Got
That
it.
Eight seasons.
sucks,
I think it was
bro.
eight seasons.
I have blinders, bro. So I got blinders. It's all.
Hey, they
It's
got the movie coming out. I hope you check that out.
so you
He
already know. You
he
already know
keep
my
playing.
guy
He keep
Henry
playing them
Cavill is gonna
runbacks.
be in there, so I'm watching it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
now, speaking of movies, we're gonna go on to some news, right? We recently had Sam Raimi talk, right? I think we can put the article in the link, I mean, description below. Make sure y'all click on that. He talked about, him loving Batman and his passion for Batman. And he wanted to make the movie but could never get the rights to do so. Instead, he went on to make what we know as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. He had a great, trilogy. The third one was mixed feelings about it, but the first two were masterpieces, especially the second one being at least top 5 in everybody's list of superhero movies of all time, right? My question to y'all is, if he would have got his hands on Batman, do you think that would have been better than his Superman trilogy? And if so, why?
I'm gonna go ahead and hand it off to Blue first because I already got my opinion on it.
What do you think, Blue? What do you think he would have did with Batman?
I think it heavily depends if he went too realistic. If he went too realistic, I don't think it eats the way we think. But if he does like he did with Spider-Man and he mixes the two and gives that fantastical just a little bit, because you got to think that time when those movies was coming out, you couldn't go, the world wasn't ready for straight fantastical MCU. If he gave a little bit like he did with Spider-Man with realistic and the heartfelt, the human connection, we actually see Bruce, we actually see a bad family. It could have been, it could have been
I want to
wonder.
ask you something.
It could have
He
been wonder.
did he not give us? I just want to ask you before you continue, right? Did he give us what we know as the organic webs, like the webs that
Yes,
came straight out of his arm? Was he the
yes,
one who actually like did that to the character,
pretty
or
sure
was
that's
that already in comics?
no. The Peter in comics has he
The
builds
web
his web
shooters.
shooters. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Sam Raimi was the one that he had organic shooting. Yes, and
Oh.
after that, sometimes you might have seen it here or there, like not main, but sometimes. But yes,
Oh,
from
so
what
he
I
was the one
know,
who started that trend, and then after it got adapted into the comic books and some type of runs.
yeah, yeah, not like main. It was like Peter's always had to run out of web shooter fluid, and you know what I mean. So, but yeah, he's from what I know, he's the one that put that
So let
into
me ask
motion.
you one more question. Who do you think he would have started the series off as the main antagonist? The first movie. Who do you
For
think he would have
Batman.
started? Yeah, for Batman. If it was
Mm,
Sam Raimi.
I think it would have been more than one person. I think it would have been at least two or three people combined, um, because you need different aspects. Normally, when it comes to Gotham and Batman, you need different aspects of villains to make like a kind of a complete story for Batman to figure out. Um, maybe Mr. Freeze, somebody, the Riddler. Yeah, throw something random in there that can be realistic and make us think as viewers as well, but not so much where it's like they freaking bending their backwards and beating the brakes off Batman with these crazy powers. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't get that because in Spider-Man, we necessarily when we first got that, it was Spider-Man 3. And you know how much controversy that came. You know what I mean? You had practical Green Goblin, super soldier serum, and a suit with a glider with tech. You had Doc Ock, 4 arms, tech. You know what I mean? Once you got to the power stuff, started getting a little shake. CGI started to get a little shake. You know what I mean? But as a kid, I loved it. I remember watching that. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. This is what I want to see as somebody that watch all these cartoons. I'm seeing this with real people. You know what I mean? So I necessarily didn't look at it like it's not the perfect thing. I'm just seeing a bunch of superpower people beat the brakes off Spider-Man. So yeah, I think it'd be a combination, maybe some mob stuff here and there, like to start the movie off. So yeah.
So you think Batman would have been more successful than his Spider-Man movies if he would have did Batman?
I could give it to Batman only because Batman had the edge over Spider-Man didn't. I would say Batman had the edge over Spider-Man. You look at these movies and what they talk about with the Dark Knight trilogy. That's a Batman. Now, like I was saying, at the same time, it depends if he went darker or if he went more for let's make it a well-rounded movie so that kids can be. You make Batman for kids with adults, you can't be stopped. The only way they stopped DC was they, like Galactic said, they made it too realistic and dark. So you couldn't take a certain audience to that. So if he did it the right way, potentially yes. If not, Spider-Man's gonna clear because every kid wants to be Spider-Man.
Photog, what do you think?
So
I'm gonna go back to the original question. Do you think if he would have did the Batman trilogy instead of the Spider-Man trilogy, do you think it would have been more successful? If so, why?
I don't think so. And that's because there were too many iterations of Batman already pre-existing. And I think people would have probably been like, "Oh man, another Batman movie." That's probably not going to go well, right? So I think with Spider-Man, there was a huge opportunity for him to make a character that wasn't really featured in a blockbuster movie. So I mean, I feel like he took the opportunity and he ran with it, and he did it well, as far as I'm concerned. Like Blue said, we were never experienced that before, except watching the cartoons of Spider-Man. But seeing him on screen, it was like, oh my gosh! And the way he portrayed him was phenomenal. So I mean, you can't really do Spider-Man bad, to be honest. It's kind of hard to do
It's
Spider-Man
hard.
bad,
It's
but
hard.
you can do Batman really bad. We've seen
Yes, you
this
can.
a
Yes, you
lot.
can. Yes, you can. Yes,
So I mean, I think that's probably what the challenge would have been is like, how do you? But I do agree with Blue saying that if he were able to mesh the dark side of DC, because DC is known for their darker side of characters, opposite of Marvel. So I think like if he did take the dark side and he was trying to were able to kind of like mesh it with a much more lighter hearted movie, he would have been successful. And that's just because, again, you look at the Lego Batman movies and you're saying and know how much the kids love those movies and how much they love Batman. Everyone loves Batman. He is a historic figure in comic books. So people still go see it, but I don't think it would have been well received like Spider-Man. And that's just because of the time that Spider-Man came.
and I was talking to my LCS owner about this a few days ago. When you look at Marvel and DC, you got Captain America and Superman. They're the faces of those retrospective things. The pillars of those things, though, is Spider-Man and Batman. Those are the things that you put their name on it, it's gonna sell. Old heads that don't even read their comics no more, they'll never stop buying ASM because that's just it's Spider-Man. That's what they collect. They don't even read it. They don't know what the story's about, what arc in, if it's good or bad. But they ain't never not gonna buy every cover that drop every month. Never. Batman. You got so many Batman books because Batman is the pillar of DC. DC Detective Comics. It's named after him. You know what I mean? So either way, you can't go wrong. Sam Raimi knew what he's talking about. That's why he said it. He know what he's talking about.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I think at that time, like Photog said, I gotta go with him. I think him not doing Spider-Man would have been a huge missed opportunity for him and his career, to be honest with you. And I think what kind of dragged him a little bit towards the end of it was the force of Venom. Like the studio forcing him, like, hey, we want Venom in this movie, and him having to, try to like work around putting Venom in that. If not, we would have got one of the most perfect superhero trilogies from him. But I do feel like I hate to be that guy, but I do
Dark
feel
Knight.
like his best work is behind him. I feel like Sam Raimi's best work is behind him. And, just from seeing what he did with Multiverse of Madness, not saying it was terrible, but at the end of the day, it wasn't something that we expected it to be, especially, with all the hype behind it and Scarlet Witch being a full blown villain and the Illuminati getting introduced for the first time. And, you hear Multiverse of Madness, we think it's going to be a multiversal event type thing. And it was more like a filler episode for the MCU. Now, going off of that, right? Marvel, as we speak, MCU wise, is in a very dangerous spot, right? because they're in a position where they're losing their audience, even core fans, like core hardcore fans that haven't been caring what it is. They're buying their movie tickets, buying the popcorn buckets, going to support. You know what I'm saying? They're making sure they're tuning in on Wednesday, whatever show is coming out, whether it's Wakanda, Eyes of Wakanda, or Ironheart, no matter what it is. But recently, there's been talk in the comic book community about the lack of support with their diverse characters and the representation that they're doing promoting their shows, right? You got Wonder Man, who's right now sitting as a top 5 top tomato score in the MCU ever at a 96 debut. I don't know if it's dropped, but right now it was like number
90.
4. It was like
It's
matching Black
90.
Panther.
It went to 90.
It went to 90. Okay, so it's still at a great
Still
position,
high.
right?
Yeah.
It's still very high for a
Yeah.
Marvel show.
I think it's their highest show.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's little to no promotion of it as far as I've seen. And it drops as a recording. If y'all don't know, as a recording today is January 25th, 2026. So it premieres in 2 days. Um,
All at once.
and
All at once.
all at once. And I'm excited to see it, but something that I think they taken away from us is the conversation. Just us talking about the weekly episode. Like, hey, did you see episode 1? Now it's gonna become a situation like Netflix did with Daredevil and episodes that they dropped over there, where once the whole season is dropped online, it's a conversation for the weekend. By next week, nobody's talking about Wonder
Yep.
Man anymore.
Oh,
It's
mhm.
over. You know what I'm saying? The wave is done. By from here to Sunday, I guarantee there will be no content um going into February about Wonder Man. It'll be said and done with, right? The show will be out, all the episodes will be out. People will have made their content, made their opinion videos, critiqued it, you know, all types of reviews. My question to you, gentlemen, is right. If this show is a success, do you think Marvel will change their game, or do you think their game is already changing on how they put out their content?
So, first of all, it's systemic. I want to just say that. Based off of what we seen, what we know, right? What we know is a fact. The facts are you have African American characters that are being featured in series on Netflix or the likes of, where you have the opposites, with their white counterparts, going into the movie theaters. You know what I'm saying? Where you're gonna have a lot more people investing their money into going to see that. I think it was I don't understand it because I think Black Panther changed the landscape when it came to
Took the words out my mouth.
African Americans going to the movies and really kind of like you know going to see their people that look like them being heroes, right? Changed the landscape. Ever since that, the last time was Blade, and Blade changed the landscape of our MCU. So this thing that doesn't I don't understand is that you had a character that was introduced in the MCU, which was Blade. Essentially, he was MCU. He was Marvel's beginning, and he brought people to the theaters to see superheroes. And then to get people coming back to the movies, you got Black Panther. So I'm wondering why shift the narrative to African Americans being featured now on Netflix to where people know some first of all some people don't even have Netflix anymore, or they're tuning into other shows in the meantime, so it's not getting the views that it should because it's so much other content on Netflix to view before watching an African American based hero, right? So I feel like it's it's weird, but I think we already kind of had this conversation before. We said, okay, I think what the problem is that they don't probably see Wonder Man being marketable.
Mhm.
So they made him into just to put him made him into a character that's gonna be seen but not like you said marketed. Like he wasn't marketed at all. The marketing is by far some of the most lackluster. But then again, this only speaks to what I've already been seeing with Ironheart and all the other ones. I'm saying like it just makes sense to me. Even I was surprised to be honest that Falcon Captain America the Falcon joint even made it to the movie theater and it didn't even do well while I was even there because you had the majority saying, okay, this is not Captain America. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not Captain America. So it didn't make the money it should have. Not to mention, he didn't get the role that he deserved, being the featured character of the title character of the movie. So it's a failed attempt. I think they need to do some rethinking about, how they actually go and advertise for their content. You know what I'm saying? And not just doing it just because you just want to have something else for people to watch. Because the energy seems very low. And I think, Blue Jack kind of like saw me and I was laughing because it's true. Like, in the beginning of this, when you asked the question regarding Marvel, I was like, yeah, they're losing the audience. They're losing me because I was a big audience. They're losing me because I am a minority, and me being older and kind of seeing things for what they really are, not the perception, but what they really are. I can actually see what's happening with these African American characters that you're introducing, but you're not doing it in a way where it's equitable, right? It's not equitable in any way. So we need to actually kind of do a little bit more thinking about diversity, not forced diversity, but taking characters and making it a focal point that you created. You created these characters. So why not give them the same opportunity, the same energy as you do the rest of them? It's a failed attempt.
Yeah, but before I get to you, right, Blue Jack, and your opinion on it, I just want to name a few things. We had Ironheart go through the same stuff, right? We had War Machine completely get canceled. We had Blade that's in limbo, rumors that it's canceled. So those three right there, and and Captain America Brave New World was reshot a whole bunch of times. Felt like a Hulk sequel. Didn't even feel like a Captain America Sam Wilson movie. So you have four of your black characters already represented in horrible ways. Don't get me wrong, your animation side of things, Sony's division with Miles is incredible. Some of the best stuff that's got going right now. But that's 1 out of 5. That's not really a good track record, right? I think we can all agree on that. Now, like you said, you did have Black Panther, and even with the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman passing away, that still hit what, 800 million? The first one over a billion. So you see that there's a demand for these characters. It's there. There's a market for it. You're just not marketing it right. Blue Jack, let me get your opinion on it.
So before I go into what the issue is, I want to give a round of applause to all of our brothers and our sisters that's out there doing greatness for us in our community. No matter what they're put in front of, no matter no marketing, they are out there standing on 10 toes and performing for us as a community. The Wonder Man hasn't even come out. Top rated show. We all know MCU shows don't do that great. Even us comic people, we rock with it and we watch it. Content, we love these characters. Ain't even came out yet, and it's already 90. He did his big one. He did his business. With Ironheart, she did her business. She believed in herself. She stood up. Forget the writing, forget whatever show. She did her thing in that. You know what I mean? All the black characters in that. So I want to put a round of applause for them for actually going out and just standing for their community and making sure they still shine, even in the midst of. That's first and foremost. Getting to the issue, it's crazy because we become so used to it. No matter what we do, no matter how many times we outshine, no matter how many times we break the barriers, no matter how many times we push away all the negative thoughts and the people that talk down in the movies and talk down in the shows and the characters, and they still go out there and perform, still don't get no love. So it's sad because we're used to it, right? And we speak out about it, but it doesn't change. And I say this in a lot of these conversations. MCU lucked out when they got Disney. Disney's arguably top 3 richest anything on this planet.
100%.
Their money goes back. We know where their money comes from. They're richest. You would think we got the money. We know we're gonna make money because we already made the brand. Let's just try to just put it out there and put the marketing. Let's give them something, right? And let's actually fake it. If you gotta fake it like you care, and let us believe that you care, because we're gonna show up.
Yeah.
Like it's not like It's not like with Warner Brothers where we gotta pick and choose what we. Y'all can do anything. You can honestly do anything with the MCU. Give us what we asking for. Give us 6 months ahead. Give us some trailers. We're gonna get behind it, whether we like it or not. We're gonna support our actors, whether we like it or not, and we're gonna do numbers like we always do, because that's what we do. We rock with our people, right? And it's crazy that they just don't care. I don't know how they're gonna change. I don't know why they wouldn't change. I don't know why they're not seeing the proof is in the pudding. It just don't change. And then you got somebody like Captain America, right? I trash Sam so much in the MCU. He's so different from who he is in the comics. That brother stands up for anything in the comics. He will come face to face with. He's fought T'Challa, literally fought T'Challa with no suit and a Hulk. T'Challa was there in the whole suit. In the MCU, whatever I can with him. Whatever Cap says, I'm. Bro, no black man is doing that, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So of course, nobody other than the people that love him in the comics want to go to his movie and be like, I'm rocking. He don't even rock with himself. He don't. They wrote him like that. Why would you write a black man like that? No black man is doing that. Not one. He's a cuck for you don't do that, man. And I can't stand it to this day, because him as Falcon, he was tough. But at the same time, he not putting his chest out like we know our black man would be doing. Like Chadwick. Chadwick was out there. Everybody in Black Panther, they out there. You know what I'm saying? They had us thinking Wakanda was real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. MCU, they got to step up. Even DC. I'm not gonna lie. DC got to step up. I think DC starting to listen now. I think they're starting to understand. We got some motion. Now let's give the culture and let's give the community a little bit of what they want. But
yeah, I was about to get to that, right?
Yeah.
My fault. Hold on, Photog. I was actually looking up a couple of things, and I wanted to talk about DC when you mentioned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here is some of DC's latest projects. And I wanted to see, how they've been representing our people, right? And from the last 20 projects, no black man or black woman has been the lead, right? From Snyder's verse to unless you count Will Smith and Idris Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. Unless you count that, then you could say a co-lead. But we mostly know Shorty Harley Quinn was like the focus point of those. Well, not really. Will Smith did his thing, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. But we do have the Lanterns coming out. So, like you said, a shift is happening with Jon Stewart, even though we're getting a lot of backlash from that because people are saying he doesn't look like Jon Stewart because he's a light-skinned black man, which poses to my next question that we're going to go through real quick. There's been a lot of controversy within our own community now on a lot of our black characters, whether it be Miles Morales, whether it be Jon Stewart. People are saying, hey, man, look, you just not black enough for the role, it seems like. You know what I'm saying? You ain't that shade of black. Same thing they said. Big shout out to Zeno Robinson, who plays Jabba and Gachiakada. They told this man he doesn't have an Afro heart because of the way Jabba sounded. And Jabba is a black anime character, but they told the man on Twitter, bro, it sounds like you ain't got an Afro heart. It's like our own people are now like being divided in actual color. And how do y'all feel about that?
Go ahead, Blue. You go ahead and start off with, or you want me to jump in? Because I can.
Yeah, I want to hear. I want to hear from the OG.
Go ahead, Galactus.
I think the YNs and everybody else like needs to hear from you. To be honest with you,
give us truth.
I think that division has been already implanted in the minority, you know what I'm saying, culture anyway. As long as I've been alive, which is almost 50 years now, I feel like, it was always the light skin versus the dark skin. You know what I'm saying? Like brothers. Yeah. So I think that was, and it's still today, when you look on social media, you'll see little memes. This is how white now this is how light skins fall, or like look when
Mhm.
they fall, or like when say it's crazy that we actually do that to each other, but it only makes sense that it translates to the media that we intake, right? So now I feel like in those sense we don't have enough appreciation for ourselves, because if we did, we wouldn't do it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like there would be no us against them within our minority, right? You know what I'm saying? Within our race, it doesn't make sense. So at the same time, it's frustrating because we are never happy with anything. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that really did it to me was technology. I think the invention of social media, because I don't know if it was as prevalent as it is, as it, because everybody feels like they have a voice now with social media. Everybody feels like they can say whatever the freak they want, right? And then no circumstances, nothing can happen to them, no consequences, right? I think that we need to actually take a step back and really kind of look at the state of where we are in the society as a whole, and the fact that we have representation at all, we should be appreciative of. We should absolutely go ahead and shout out to the mountains that we have people that may not fit exactly the color of the character that you're looking at, and say, you know what, I'm going to support this because there's not enough of it anyway.
Yep.
So you know what I'm saying, and on top of that, Flea, we spoke on the what's the name on TikTok. I feel like people don't really understand the nature of the industry itself and actors. You know what I'm saying? Like how they actually go about getting actors. There needs to be a pool of actors in order to work with. You know what I'm saying? So if there's not enough of us that look like that, then you're not going to get that. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, if you have actors that can't really sell the role, then that they're not gonna get the role. You know what I'm saying? Like we need some people that sell a role. This man just came off of a Netflix movie, whatever it is, that did numbers. So
And
you
he
know what
won
I'm saying? And on top
awards.
of that, he's super handsome. He can get the girls in. You have to think about their mindset when they're actually hiring these people. They're saying, okay, well, number one, he can fit the role because he's gonna get the audience that we need. We need to get these ladies in the door that absolutely
Mhm.
love him. On top of that, we're gonna also get the black community because he's black. You know what I'm saying? And also, you know what I'm saying, whatever, there's so many different factors that go into it, but people are looking at one thing and one thing only. He don't look like him. Well, that happens everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I mean, they didn't say nothing about with Batman. I told you before, with Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton didn't look like, you know what I'm saying, Bruce Wayne. He didn't, not at all. But
A
That's
y'all
a
lot,
want
a
fact.
lot
support
of,
them
a lot
because
of
guess
them don't.
what?
A lot of them don't.
No,
A
they
lot of them
don't.
don't. They're just
I
white.
mean, like seriously, there's a
Just white.
lot of them that don't, but you can't get mad at that. You know what I'm saying? You're
Exactly.
not gonna get a clone in real life that looks like a character that was drawn in the book. Like it's
You got to
crazy.
find the closest. And some people look, you get lucky in life, and some people look exactly like those counterparts.
Yeah,
That ain't
Yeah,
always gonna happen.
it
And
doesn't
I
always.
agree. Matter of
and I
fact,
said that.
speaking of that, what's your take? Who's we gotta get up out of here soon,
Yeah.
right? Y'all, but bear with us 1 second. I want to ask these gentlemen one more question. Who's your one-on-one casting? Like, my God, they casted this character to the nail in comic books.
I
Like,
got a
that's
couple.
him
Go ahead.
Go
straight
ahead.
out the
Let me hear
pages.
it. Come on, let's go back. Go ahead. Give me one.
No, you first, Blue.
Now, give me one. Come on, give me one.
I think RDJ.
RDJ,
uh,
I ain't
uh,
gonna lie, man.
I'm
He
not
he
mad at that.
made he made Iron Man cool to
I'm not
everybody.
mad at that.
I
Wesley.
think I, I think it's him, but my two main ones, I think they did a good job with him, and I know they did a good job with Chapman.
Yep.
Chadwick. They
I
Ooh,
did
got
a they
I
did a
got
Chadwick.
Wesley. Wesley.
Bowie.
I got Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds, right?
Oh
I
yeah,
got him.
perfect. Jesus.
Um, I we just talked about it. I got Aaron Pierre. I can't lie. I tell this all the time to people. Like when you look at that movie he did on Netflix, that was literally his audition. That's literally John Stewart. Down to the fact that he was a Marine. That's literally John Stewart. Everything about that, the
Ooh,
calmness,
talk
the
about
the,
it. Good
the
point.
aura,
Talk
the
about it.
physique, the way he can analyze things, the way he breaks things down, the way he's trying to be passive before he goes. Even when he goes to that level, he's trying to be like, "Hey, I'm not trying to go far, but if I got to, I got to." Right? You got everything. You got literally the perfect. You just take him right now and just put a ring on him. That's John Stewart. He's just not a little dark. He's just not a little darker, right? So ah, people gonna say what they say, man.
Hey
Yeah.
man, I'm not even gonna lie. I recently just watched animated DC film, right, with John Stewart's origin not too long ago, where Hal Jordan is like villain towards the end. I forgot the name of the movie. Somebody correct me in the chat if y'all seen that animated movie with
I know what
Jon
you're talking
Stewart
about.
in it. He's light skinned in that joint. I'm not
It's
bugging, bro.
different
He is
adaptations.
hella
It's
light
different
skin in
adaptation.
that
Yeah.
joint. You know what I'm talking about? Where
Yeah.
he beats up the mugger in the beginning.
No,
What's
I
the
agree with
name
you.
of? Yeah,
I agree with
somebody
you.
let me know the name of that movie in the comments. But I just seen it not too long ago on HBO Max. But I do want to say, I'm not gonna lie to you. I know he's not a one-on-one from the comics, but I feel like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine changed my perspective of that character. Now, when I look at Wolverine, I look at Hugh Jackman. And I
Mhm.
think that's going to be one of the hardest castings for the MCU moving forward when it comes to recasting. I'm kind of lying because Chris Evans, too, man, killed Captain America.
Yeah, Chris Evans.
And I want to say something before we go. Captain America, the first Avenger, is so underrated. I rewatched it and it is way better than people give it credit for.
That movie's really good. That
It
movie's
is
a
really good.
banger.
It is
And
a
and
banger.
you know how
It
good
is
it
a
is
banger,
because
Photog. You got to
people
rewatch it.
people that don't even like superheroes or Marvel watch that movie and can enjoy it. Like that movie, you can take it out of superhero and still be like, that's a good movie.
I'm not going to lie.
Yes,
You know what I
it's a
love
good
so
movie.
much about it even
I'll
more
reserve
now?
my opinion about that.
Look, look. You know what I love
That's
about
a
it even
first.
more, Photog? The chemistry now when you rewatch it between him and Carter. My God, just seeing how she fell in love with him, like the little things that he did to gain her trust and her love,
Yeah.
like showing that I'm a little ass dude and I'm jumping on grenades. I'm
He's playing the
smarter than
game.
these
He
dudes.
playing the game. Yeah.
Yeah, these dudes is trying to climb the pole. Now we gonna take the pole down.
Yeah. We ain't
And I'm
got
gonna
to.
grab like just everything he did, character development wise, and just the type of man he is and becomes throughout his trilogy makes me appreciate that movie even more once you see, the ending and how he went back in time to get that last dance. And it just brings it, and that's why I'm so excited for Doomsday. Cause now he's living his dream. He done got a baby by Shorty, and it's about to get crazy. So I'm excited for that, which leads to our last topic because we got something special for y'all in about 20 minutes. Avengers Secret Wars has been reported that it will probably be broken up in two movies. So this means we're gonna get a three-movie arc starting with Doomsday. Potentially by the end of Doomsday, we get Battle World, and then we go into Secret Wars.
Mhm.
Now, fellas, this is one of them comic book events that as a nerd, as a geek, even if you haven't read it, you know about it.
You know
You
about it.
know, you probably seen famous covers of the black suit. You know where that came from. Or
Mhm.
if you go a little forward and you talking about Jonathan Hickman's run, which is personally my favorite one with Doom. My God, a masterpiece. I think that man did that series really well. My question to you, gentlemen, right? In this two movie run, we'll probably get like 2 hours and 30 minutes from each one. Overall, we'll probably get over 8 hours of content from Doomsday, Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2. Do you think, even with three movies, is enough to cover the entire event?
No,
Ooh, no?
no. And it's because MCU didn't do it right.
Hmm.
They scrambling. If they did it right, if they did it right, it could have potentially, yes, and they could have made other stuff to tie in here and there. But because they had to pivot and because they were so frantic about pivoting and just doing anything, no, I don't think you can do it well in three movies.
I agree with you only because in Multiverse of Madness, going back to that movie, at the end, we get the concept of concur what do you call them?
Variants.
Incursions.
Oh, incursions.
Incursions.
Yeah.
So we haven't actually seen what happened with Strange when he had to go fix that incursion, right? I don't think the general audience know what incursions are. So you gotta birth that concept in the movie, right? You gotta give birth to that and let people know, hey, all these, which they said in Doomsday, they said the first two incursions are gonna be Toby's universe and the X-Men universe Smashing. That's what I heard the opening is. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's the rumors. But Photog, do you think 3 movies is enough to tell this whole story and have it done well? Because this is Marvel's last shot at greatness. I think if they mess this up, I think not only do they put themselves in a critical position, but man, I think it's going to be detrimental to the franchise.
So, no, I don't, and here's why. Um, every single movie that Marvel came up with in that first phase led up to Endgame. There was nuggets dropping all over the place, and it was intentional. You know what I'm saying? And which made that so much more beautiful. You know what I'm saying? As far as like introducing Thanos as the character, um, they like Blue said, they're scrambling because of everything that happened after Endgame. It didn't hit as hard. People weren't sold on it. It was kind of all over the place. They lost their identity with a lot of their characters. It seems like, especially with Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy was done dirty as far as I'm concerned. But I feel like there were nuggets all over the place for us to see Thanos. And now with Doom, I think they're just doing it because Doom is such a big name and he's such a big character when it comes to the trajectory of Marvel. How many different ways you can go with Doom. I think they're just doing it based off of that. They're using it as a safety net, as him being a character. They dropped the ball on Warlock as being a super character, a super villain.
Mm.
And he ends up being good at one point, but I feel like at this point in time with Doomsday, they have to do it with more. We need more because there was opportunity for us to be led to this direction of Doomsday with the multiverse, and the way they closed it out, us knowing about the multiverse was lackluster. So, and on top of that, it was unfinished, especially when it came to Kang and everything else. I don't know. There's just so many different things that happened that they could have fixed, and now they're doing
Yep.
Doomsday, and now having to actually make it right. Three, three, three would be okay. Three would give me whet my appetite a little bit because it's moving me back to what I love about Marvel. But is it enough? Is the question.
Mm. Well, let us know in the comment section below. Will 3 movies be enough to cover the entire event of Secret Wars? And let us know how you feel about the Marvel universe going forward. Now, also in the comments, here's the giveaway question. Remind you, I'm gonna be checking the comments, things like that. This is how you enter the giveaway. Let us know who was done worse, Ultron or Adam Warlock as a character. So let us know who was done worse. Was it Ultron in the Age of Ultron Avengers or what they did to Adam Warlock in
Warlock.
Guardians 3? Let us know in the
Warlock.
comment section and we will talk about that in our next episode. Now, for more content, please follow us here on Voice of the Heroes podcast. UNCaped will be coming at you every Monday. Blue Jack, let them know again where they can follow you at.
Hey, you can find me TikTok, Instagram, Blue Jack, BLUJACK. I'm there. I'm active. I'm going live. I'm showing y'all everything that I got, man. Giving y'all my opinions. Y'all rock with me? Tap in.
Galactic Photog. Let them know where they can follow you at.
IG, Galactus Photog, TikTok, you know what I'm saying? Same name, Galactus Photog. Tap in with me, y'all. I do unboxings. I do a lot of things where I'm collecting classics. Come check me out. Thank
Hey,
you.
you already know,
Unbox me.
man. And I
Unbox me.
am and I am the one and only one FleeBoy Jetson. You can follow me on all platforms at FleeBoy Jetson. Remind you, all links will be provided for you in the description below. And we do have a Discord and we have a bunch of social media stuff that we'll be setting up for you in the future. We have exclusive interviews, topics and discussions, giveaways, and so much more. But as always, make sure you love yourself. Pass that love on and love others. And if nobody told you so, just know your boy love you. This has been 3 Unks on the pod. Make sure you catch us, man. UNCaped. We'll see you later.